Chapter 585. At this moment, Xiaohan's rage was indescribable and unimaginable. His emotions had reached the pinnacle of anger in his life. Murderous intent filled the air. He had never wanted to tear someone into pieces like this before. The words spoken by the Divine Sword Prince in the pure mountain range and his roar had completely touched Xiaohan's bottom line. The Divine Sword Prince actually threatened to destroy the entire pure mountain range and even wanted to rape Xiaohan's wife and cook Xiaohan's son. At this moment, regardless of whether the Divine Sword Prince was a human, an immortal, a demon, Xiaohan swore to kill him. All of a sudden, Xiaohan stood up and cursed angrily. Trash. Why are you barking here? Get lost. The immortals standing next to Xiaohan had been paying attention to Emperor Heaven's drawing the immortal runes, but they didn't take Xiaohan seriously at all. Now Xiaohan suddenly stood up and cursed angrily, causing these immortals to be both surprised and anxious. He scolded Xiaohan, "You dog. Why didn't you just stay here and wait for Big Brother Heaven's son to finish writing the sacrificial rites to refine your soul and turn you into a slave? Why are you shouting now? Kneel down. Do your duty as a dog." Xiaohan, on the other hand, did not listen to these immortals at all. His heart had already returned to the pure mountain range. "All of you get lost." All of a sudden, Xiaohan let out a roar and his entire body moved. Boom boom boom. Rumble. In less than 1,000th of a second, Xiaohan had forcibly torn open the space crystal barrier and escaped far away. Presumptuous. How dare you escape under our eyes? The moment Xiaohan escaped, several immortals finally reacted. They immediately stretched out their hands to grab Xiaohan back. Unexpectedly, Xiaohan's immortal body teleported at an extremely fast speed, causing their hands to fail to catch Xiaohan. There's actually immortal energy emitting from him. Emperor Heaven suddenly stopped writing the inscription and directly grabbed the direction where Xiaohan escaped. Hong, Emperor Heaven's grasp. The entire space seemed to have frozen, and there was even a feeling of time going backwards. Thousands of miles of air and space. They were all destroyed by Emperor Heaven's grasp. Roar. During the process of teleporting, Xiaohan suddenly felt an enormous pressure behind him. It was like a primordial beast had descended and was about to devour him, causing him to feel a chill down his spine. Xiaohan was well aware that it was the tyrannical Son of Heaven who had made his move. However, Xiaohan was eager to return. No matter who it was, they would not be able to stop him. Get lost. Xiaohan roared. Dual attribute immortal body. He pushed his energy to the limit and darted forward, barely dodging Heaven's Son's grasp. The Emperor of Heaven's grasp missed. Damn it. The Divine Sword Son is indeed a man who will bring about his own destruction. His grade has fallen and his immortal strength has fallen to the standard of a level 1 true immortal. If Brother Xiao wants to kill him, it is more than enough. Then I will use a small magical treasure to set up an illusion to trap Heaven's Son and the others first. After Brother Xiao kills the Divine Sword Son, I will meet up with Brother Xiao. Thank you, Brother Jialanzi. Xiao. Xiaohan's body turned into a stream of light and shot towards the pure cloud mountain range. Behind Xiaohan, a large group of immortals were full of killing intent. They urged their immortal chi and chased after Xiaohan with the speed of teleportation. However, at this moment, boom, 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 boom. A huge immortal pillar descended from the four corners of the north, south, east, and west. On top of each pillar, there were runes engraved on it. A kind of reversal of time and space, a trace of chaotic space, trapped Heaven's Son and the other immortals. Magical treasure? Heaven's Son was slightly stunned. Then, he led the immortals to charge left and right, but they were still unable to rush out of the area covered by the four immortal pillars. Damn it. It must be Jialanzi's doing. All of them took out their magical treasures and immortal techniques to break this illusion. Jialanzi, this idiot, in order to protect Xiaohan, he actually used such a magical treasure. This magical treasure should have been given to him by his sect for him to use in the second floor of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure, right? But it was wasted here. No matter, let's break this magical treasure first. Xiaohan, this evil creature. As long as he is still in this plane, he will not be able to escape from our palms. Under Heaven's Son's command, dozens of immortals each used their immortal techniques to attack the immortal pillars. Pure Cloud Mountain Range. The huge Pure Cloud Mountain Range. It was shrouded in a dark and austere atmosphere. The Divine Sword Son stood in the void with his hands behind his back. The corner of his mouth was pulled into an incomparably ferocious smile. In his eyes, there was a kind of pleasure of revenge. Kill all the men. Ravage all the women, especially Xiao Han's wives. Kill all of them. Xiaoan, don't cry. Mo Qingtong hugged her son and gently stroked his smooth and tender cheeks. Then she raised her head and looked at Princess Mo Hen, Jing Yanxue and Lan Shirong. Sisters, we are all Xiao Han's women. We are all Xiao Han's women. This time, this immortal has come to our door and wants to humiliate us. We must not let Xiao Han lose face. Later, we will end it ourselves. After saying that, Mo Qingtong looked at her son in her arms. 2 lines of tears uncontrollably fell down. This immortal Jiao Lanzi, once left a spiritual mark in our pure Cloud Mountain range. Wu Yu raised his eyes to the sky and said in a clear voice, if there is any danger in our pure Cloud Mountain range, immortal Jiao Lanzi will lend a helping hand. I hope this immortal will not be too unscrupulous. Ah! The Divine Sword Son laughed wildly. Jiao Lanzi? Ah! Yes, if Jiao Lanzi is here he can indeed protect you. However, at this moment Jiao Lanzi is being entangled by the Son of Heaven. I'm afraid Xiao Han has also been captured. Who do you think can protect you? Forget it, kill tens of thousands of people first and bathe this pure Cloud Mountain range in blood. As he spoke, every pore on the Divine Sword Son's body blossomed with supreme sword intent. Many profound sword principles were brewing. Needless to say, once the Divine Sword Son unleashed his sword chi, this pure Cloud Mountain range would be filled with rivers of blood and corpses. At this critical moment, Divine Sword Son. Xiao Han's indifferent voice suddenly appeared behind the Divine Sword Son. Xiao Han? The Divine Sword Son was shocked and quickly turned around. He saw Xiao Han walking in the void, walking towards the Divine Sword Son step by step. Finally, Xiao Han returned to the pure Cloud Mountain range right before the Divine Sword Son began his massacre. At this moment, Xiao Han had completely concealed the aura of his immortal body. The spirit turtle true chi wrapped around him flawlessly. Xiao Han. You actually returned. Jiao Lanzi. Where's Jiao Lanzi? The Divine Sword Son was terrified. He was like a bird startled by the mere twang of a bow. He was afraid that Xiao Han and Jiao Lanzi would return together. In the blink of an eye, the Divine Sword Son scanned with his immortal sense. Phew, Xiao Han, so you returned to the pure Cloud Mountain range alone. The Divine Sword Son carefully scanned the surrounding 10,000 li but did not find Jiao Lanzi's aura. His heart calmed down and the panic in his eyes turned ferocious. Xiao Han. You bastard. You caused my grade to drop. You came back empty-handed. Originally you relied on Jiao Lanzi's protection. This immortal really could not kill you. I could only kill the people around you to vent my anger. However, since you came back so eagerly then, this immortal will kill you. Since this immortal could not enter the 2nd floor of the Immortal Emperor's treasure, I might as well kill you. So that all the immortals who came to this plane, whether it was Jiao Lanzi or Heaven's Son, could not enter the 2nd floor of the Immortal Emperor's treasure. Ah! If worst comes to worst, after this immortal returns to the immortal world, I will roam the world and avoid the pursuit of Jiao Lanzi and Heaven's Son. Ah! In the eyes of the Divine Sword Son, there was an almost perverted joy. As for Xiao Han, his face was cold. He turned a deaf ear to the words of the Divine Sword Son. He walked straight towards the Divine Sword Son and said coldly, Divine Sword Son, you are the first immortal that I, Xiao Han, have killed with my own hands. I will blast you into pieces. Your immortal body will be reduced to ashes. Chapter 586. Xiao Han's entire body was filled with a murderous aura that was as violent as lava. He flew through the air and walked towards Shingenzi step by step. However, Xiao Han still did not release any aura of an immortal. This caused Shingenzi to repeatedly scan with his immortal sense, but he still thought that Xiao Han was just immortal. The entire 9 Peaks mountain range was also silent. Everyone's eyes were focused on Xiao Han and Shingenzi. Moreover, everyone was worried for Xiao Han. Xiao Han's entire body is filled with murderous aura. He actually wants to use his own strength to kill this immortal in front of him. Wu Yu was filled with shock. Although the entire 9 Peaks sect regarded Xiao Han as their spiritual leader, and during the battle to repel the demon army from the foreign plains, Xiao Han had displayed an unparalleled domineering aura that was unstoppable even against millions of enemies. However, at this moment Xiao Han was facing an immortal. A real immortal. A mortal killing an immortal, this had never happened in any history, in any unofficial history or in any legend. It was absolutely impossible for this to happen. This was a battle between two life forms that were as different as heaven and earth. It was impossible for a miracle to happen. No, Xiaohan. Don't take the risk and fight with an immortal. Wu Yu was almost roaring. Unfortunately, under the suppression of the auras of the Divine Sword Master and Xiaohan, the people of the Pure Cloud sect, from the Crow tribe to the ordinary disciples, were all suppressed, unable to speak. However, strange sounds could be heard coming from their throats. Jiao Lanzi. Immortal Jiao Lanzi. Quick, come and help. Everyone in the Nine Peaks sect roared in their hearts. Above the void, Xun Jianzi was also extremely cautious. He was afraid that Jiao Lanzi was secretly protecting Xiaohan. After all, he had suffered a great loss in Jiao Lanzi's hands. Once bitten, twice shy. However, when his immortal sense spread out, it covered an area of hundreds of thousands of miles. There was no trace of Jiao Lanzi's aura. Gradually, Xun Jianzi also relaxed. He looked at Xiaohan with an extremely exaggerated expression and let out a hysterical roar. Ah! Ah! I know. It must be Emperor Tsang and the others. You trapped Jiao Lanzi so that he could not protect you, Xiaohan, you little evil creature. Ah! And Xiaohan, you couldn't just sit back and watch the safety of your family and fellow disciples. Therefore you rushed back to die. Ah! This is called Heaven's Net has long arms but nothing escapes. Xiaohan. Today I want you dead. Heaven's Net has a long way to go? Xiaohan was getting calmer and calmer. Yes, it's true that Heaven's Net has long arms but it never escapes. Divine Sword Son, you have committed countless crimes in the mortal world. Today you will be punished. Let's settle it all together. You must die, and so must Heaven's Son and the other unforgivable immortals. Any immortal who comes to the mortal world and wants to trample on mortals as he pleases. All of them will perish here. Ha! Is there something wrong with his brain? Ah! The Divine Sword Master threw his head back and roared with laughter. He laughed so hard that tears were about to come out of his eyes. Insignificant mortal, inferior to pigs and dogs, you actually dare to say that you want to slaughter immortals? Ah! Although this immortal's rank has fallen to the first level of the true immortal realm, I still want to kill you, Xiaohan. In other words, it's just a thought. Jiao Lanzi probably gave you some immortal treasures, which is why you dare to be so arrogant here. However, a mere mortal, even if you have a supreme immortal treasure, you definitely can't unleash its true power. Xiaohan. If you kneel in front of me and kowtow, I can give you a dignified death. Otherwise, I will ravage your 4 wives in front of you and make them suffer. You took turns to ravage them, making them wish they were dead. Your son. The Divine Sword Child completely disregarded Xiaohan. No matter how powerful a mortal was, he could not pose any threat to an immortal. While Divine Sword Son was talking non-stop, humiliating Xiaohan to his heart's content, Xiaohan had already approached Divine Sword Son. All of a sudden, Xiaohan let out a roar. Divine Sword Son, you piece of sh*t. Die. At the same time, Xiaohan's immortal physique aura was no longer suppressed. The radiance of the dual attribute immortal physique suddenly bloomed. Divine rays of light rolled, and Xiaohan's entire body seemed to become tall, invincible and dominating everything. Above Xiaohan's head, the veins of the immortal realm appeared. A deep spacetime wormhole appeared above Xiaohan's head, connecting to the immortal realm. What? In an instant, Divine Sword Son's body shook violently, and he fell into a completely unbelievable whirlpool of confusion. Immortal physique? Such a powerful immortal physique? What is this? The moment Xiaohan released the power of his immortal physique, his right fist had already punched toward Divine Sword Son. This punch was not held back at all. This punch was a punch that Xiaohan had prepared for a long time, a punch that concentrated the power of his immortal physique. This punch had reached the peak of the attack power of an ordinary level, 4 true immortal. This punch had the terrifying power of 40 immortal dragons. Dragons and snakes coiled around the fist and electricity crackled. It was as if a world of lightning from the immortal world was brewing within it, capable of devouring and ripping apart everything. This punch was like the descent of a demon god, the birth of heaven, the beginning of chaos, the roar of heavenly dragons, the apocalypse. This was definitely not the power of a mortal, but the pure power of an immortal. Caught off guard, coupled with the shock, Xiaohan's punch, which had been at its peak, actually landed on the body of the Divine Sword Prince. Hong! Thousands of mushroom clouds bloomed from Divine Sword Son's body. From inside his body, there was even the terrifying sound of thunder and the collapse of the world. In an instant, Divine Sword Son's eyeballs popped out of their sockets. Then numerous cracks appeared on his face and body. The next moment, bow, 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 bow. Divine Sword Son's immortal physique fell apart like broken jade tiles, shattered and shot out in all directions. Immortal blood sprayed everywhere like water from a well. It was broken. Blown up. With one punch, Xiao Han had blown up Divine Sword Son's immortal physique. The entire mountain range was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. In the end, no one expected Xiao Han to be able to blow up an immortal with one punch. Moreover, there were even clouds of immortal chi rising from Xiao Han's body just now. Xiao Han's body seemed to have transcended the scope of a mortal body, which was completely incomprehensible to Crow and the others. And at this moment Xiao Han. But he was also relatively calm. Because Xiao Han knew that with his full strength, the ultimate power of 40 immortal dragons, he could definitely kill an immortal. Divine Sword Son's rank had already fallen, and his strength had sharply decreased. In addition, he was completely unprepared, so it was reasonable for him to be killed by Xiao Han. So, this is the feeling of blowing up an immortal? Although he was calm. At this moment, Xiao Han's heart was still a little surprised and a little strange. So, killing an immortal is not a big deal. Although the immortal physique is impregnable, but it can also be smashed like an egg. Oh, this feeling is really cool. After Divine Sword Son was blown up, the fragments of his immortal physique scattered in all directions like pieces of broken glass gems, sparkling and rippling in the sky above the mountain range, like a dreamy starry radiance. This was the life of an immortal. After the end, the only evidence of his existence was fleeting, like a shooting star. Many disciples of the Pure Cloud sect stared at the starlight in a daze. An immortal has fallen. He was a supreme immortal. He has fallen into our mortal world. At this moment, among the fragments of the immortal physique that filled the sky, a sea blue ring was shining brightly. Xiao Han scanned it with his mind. Storage ring. An immortal storage ring? In the next moment, Xiao Han stretched out his hand and grabbed the air. This storage ring was firmly grasped in his hand. At this moment, buzz, 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 something strange happened. The Demon Monarch's palm tattoo on Xiao Han's left arm actually transmitted waves of soul throbbing. Puff! The Demon Monarch's palm on his left arm that was firmly suppressed by Xiao Han suddenly appeared. The densely packed tentacles extended in all directions and actually caught all the fragments of the immortal physique that were scattered in the sky. Like a spider web catching insects. Then, something that shocked Xiao Han even more happened. Those sticky tentacles all caught all the fragments of the immortal physique in the sky and then devoured them. The Divine Sword Prince's exploded immortal physique was absorbed by Xiao Han's Demon Monarch's tentacles. Boom, boom, boom. The fragments of the immortal physique were refined one after another and became nourishment for the Demon Monarch's palm. This caused the demonic veins of Xiao Han's left arm Demon Monarch's palm to awaken again. The quality of the Demon Monarch's palm changed again and again. What? After my Demon Monarch's palm was modified by the demon gods last time, it absorbed and refined a large amount of essence of the Demon Monarch's corpse from the other planes. There were many changes, and now it can even forcibly refine and absorb the corpse of an immortal. Xiao Han deeply felt that when the Demon Monarch's palm refined the fragments of the Divine Sword Prince's immortal physique, the nourishment it received was much more abundant than when it refined the corpse of the Demon Clan's army from the other planes. This caused the number of awakened demonic veins in Xiao Han's left arm Demon Monarch's palm to break through from 80 million to 100 million within a few breaths. At this moment, Xiao Han frowned slightly and swept his mind. The aura of Jianghu was sweeping over from hundreds of thousands of miles away. Xiao Han made a prompt decision and immediately activated the Spirit Turtle True Chi to seal the aura of the Demon Monarch's palm. He also completely retracted the Demon Monarch's palm. Brother Xiao, the Divine Sword Prince has been killed, right? Jianghu's voice came from afar. Xiao Han said calmly. The Divine Sword Prince deserved to die. He was already blown up by my punch. The immortal physique turned into powder. Whoosh! A cool breeze swept past, and Jianghu had already arrived in front of Xiao Han. Brother Xiao, Sun Tsang and the others have been temporarily trapped by me, Jianghu smiled and then said after a pause. Just now I seem to feel a faint demonic aura. Demonic aura? Xiao Han pretended to be surprised and said. To be honest, Brother Jianghu, I had some fortuitous encounters in the past and knew a little bit of the Demon Clan's techniques. But now that my immortal physique has been formed, that little bit of demonic aura has long been thrown beyond the clouds. Could it be that when I killed the Divine Sword Prince just now, I released a little bit of the demon clan's techniques in my aura? At this moment, Xiao Han's immortal physique was strong, and his entire body was as still as a mountain. His body emitted the aura of treasures. It was really difficult to associate him with the demon clan. Jialanzi did not ask further and nodded. Brother Xiao, in a while, Sun Tsang and the others will be free. Let's take our time to think about how to deal with those despicable people. Chapter 587. Xiao Han took advantage of the moment when the Divine Sword Prince was unprepared and punched him into powder. However, what surprised Xiao Han the most after killing the Divine Sword Son was that the countless tentacles of the monarch beast left arm that had evolved were able to capture the fragments of the immortal body and refine them. Moreover, after refining the immortal body fragments, they were very effective in nourishing the left arm demon emperor palm. It could awaken countless demon veins in the left arm demon emperor palm. Increase demon power. This was no small matter. However, at this time, Jialanzi rushed over, forcing Xiao Han to give up on the in-depth study of the left arm demon emperor palm. Instead, he used the spirit turtle true chi to wrap the demonic chi in his left arm and gave a perfunctory reply to Jialanzi. Fortunately, Jialanzi did not pursue the matter further. Moreover, Jialanzi invited Xiao Han to discuss how to deal with Heaven's Son and the other immortals. Then, Brother Jialanzi, please come to the inner sanctum. Xiao Han smiled. After the death of the Divine Sword Prince, the entire inner sanctum returned to its usual peace and tranquility. Xiao Han, Jialanzi, Wu Li, and the others gathered in the inner sanctum. At this time, Xiao Han could vaguely feel that the left-arm demon emperor palm was secretly devouring and refining the immortal body fragments of the Divine Sword Prince. It was constantly evolving. It was really amazing. Thank you, Brother Jialanzi, for holding off Heaven's Son and the other immortals for me so that I could personally kill God's Sword Prince. Xiao Han expressed his gratitude. Brother Xiao, you're welcome. Jialanzi frowned slightly. However, Brother Xiao, Heaven's Son and the other immortals are now making it clear that they want to control you. This makes it difficult for us to give out the quota to enter the second layer of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Although Heaven's Son and the other immortals are temporarily trapped, they will be able to kill their way out of the illusion soon. In this way they will definitely hunt you down. They will definitely not let you go. Yes. Xiao Han nodded in agreement. No matter where I hide in the inner sanctum, they will definitely hunt me down. Even if I hide in the Devil Hero region or even roam the world, I will still be hunted down by Heaven's Son and the other despicable immortals. They are determined to kill me. This? Jialanzi's brows were also tightly knitted together. He used his right index finger to lightly tap the table. His entire person had also sunk into deep thought. After a few dozen breaths, Jialanzi finally spoke. Brother Xiao, I have thought of a few ways to deal with the Firmament Emperor. Now, tell me about it so that Brother Xiao can study it. Brother Jialan, please speak, Xiao Han said at once. The first method is for me to invite a group of immortals to fight against Heaven's Son. If necessary, he would kill Heaven's Son and the other immortals. The second method is for me to help Brother Xiao leave this plane and reach the vast universe or other planes in the mortal world. Hearing this, Xiao Han also pondered for a few breaths. He then shook his head slightly. Brother Jialan, these two methods aren't a foolproof plan. The first method was to fight against the Heaven Emperor. This way, the space crystal wall of the mortal world would be destroyed. They would inevitably be blasted apart. The aftermath of the battle would also cause the death of countless creatures. The second method is to hide, but this is also not a long-term solution. As the saying goes, a monk can run away but the temple can't. If I run away, then with the nature of wolves like Heaven Emperor, they might threaten my family and relatives like the Divine Sword Son. They might even kill their way into the Yaoxia Tower and slaughter the elites of my plane. I can't possibly take away all the creatures in the entire plane, can I? This. Jialanzi heard this and kept nodding. Obviously, Xiao Han's concerns were not completely unreasonable. Brother Xiao, we can't fight or hide. Are we going to give the quota to these ambitious fellows? The quota definitely can't be given to Heaven Emperor and the others, Xiao Han said decisively. The quota should belong to kind immortals like the marvelous mathematician and Tao Tai. I don't care how the quota for other planes is distributed, but when they come to my plane they must be honest and test their character. After a pause, a strange light flashed in Xiao Han's eyes. This little brother has an idea. Oh? Jialanzi and Wu Yu both turned to look at Xiao Han. Brother Xiao has always been full of tricks. Please tell me. Jialanzi looked at Xiao Han with a serious face. Why don't I make a bet with Heaven Emperor and the others? Xiao Han suddenly said. A bet? Jialanzi and Wu Bingyao were both shocked. Yes, a bet. Xiao Han had a look of planning before taking action. Brother Jialanzi, you will be in charge of this matter and inform the immortals of the bet. From now on I will hide in this plane. Heaven Emperor and the others can find me at will. If they can capture me within half a year, then I admit defeat and am willing to give them 100 quotas to enter the second floor of Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. These 100 quotas will be distributed by them. However, if they can't capture me within this half a year, then all of their quotas to enter the second floor of Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure will be revoked and they will immediately go back to the immortal world. Xiao Han hid in the plane of mortals. Let Heaven Emperor and the others search. Half a year. Jialanzi was stunned and immediately fell into deep thought. Also, Brother Jialanzi, please tell Heaven Emperor and the others that within this half a year, they must not cause any damage to the plane or harm the living beings of the plane. Otherwise, the bet will be cancelled and I will not give them the quotas to enter the second floor of Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Xiao Han said seriously. Xiao Han was also taking a risk with this bet. Given the current situation, Heaven Emperor and the other evil immortals were already in a situation where they would not rest until Xiao Han was dead. They would definitely not let this matter rest. Xiao Han had some scruples. It was inconvenient for him to fight and he could not run away. Therefore he could only think of such a bet to restrain Heaven Emperor and the other immortals. Moreover, Xiao Han already knew that his Demon Emperor left arm could devour the corpses of immortals and obtain the opportunity to evolve. In this way Xiao Han vaguely had a plan to slaughter immortals and continuously feed the Demon Emperor left arm palm. Such a plan was very bold. Using the corpses of immortals to nourish the Demon Emperor left arm was tantamount to a heinous crime and an insult to the entire immortal world. Even if Jialanzi knew about this, he would definitely intervene. However, in order to increase his combat strength, Xiao Han did not care at all. Only with tyrannical strength could he win his dignity. At the very least, he could protect his family and loved ones. Therefore, Xiao Han must stay away from Jialanzi's protection and kill the evil immortals under Heaven Emperor one by one in order to realize this bold and heaven-defying plan. Vaguely, Xiao Han also guessed that as long as there were enough immortal corpses to nourish the Demon Emperor left arm palm, then the Demon Emperor left arm palm would evolve to a whole new level. Brother Xiao, this is really too risky. Jialanzi slightly frowned. However, I can always protect Brother Xiao in the dark. That's not necessary. Xiao Han tactfully refused. Brother Jialanzi, if you protect me from the side, this bet will lose its fairness. Heaven Emperor and the others will definitely not agree to it. Moreover, I also want to use this half a year to properly sharpen myself so that I can improve again. In order to make the final preparations for entering the second layer of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure a few years later. When he heard that Xiao Han did not need his protection in the dark, Jialanzi also hesitated. Brother Xiao, Heaven Emperor is extremely cruel and cunning like an old fox. If you're not careful and fall into his hands, I'm afraid. Xiao Han smiled casually. Brother Jialanzi, Heaven Emperor is indeed extraordinary, but I'm not bad either, right? I have a dual attribute immortal physique, and my physical strength has reached 40 immortal dragon strength. Moreover, Heaven Emperor and the others have yet to discover this secret. In this way, it's equivalent to me being in the dark while Heaven Emperor and the others are in the light. Moreover, I have the ability to conceal my own aura, which is considered to be unique. As he spoke, Xiao Han's entire body was filled with spirit turtle true qi, and his entire aura became like stone and wood, indistinct. I have the intention to blend into the mortal world. Even if Heaven Emperor and the others use their immortal senses to scan, they may not be able to find me. Xiao Han's two greatest assets were: first, the dual attribute immortal physique. Second, the spirit turtle true qi. These were his assets on the surface. In addition, he had a mental strength that was comparable to an immortal's, which allowed Xiao Han to anticipate the enemy's every move, and the demon monarch palm that was hidden deeply. These few trump cards also gave Xiao Han a little confidence in dealing with Heaven Emperor and the other immortals. If I can safely survive this half a year and win this bet, then I will once again ascend and transform. Xiao Han said decisively. At this moment, Wu Yu, who had been silent all this while, also spoke seriously. Brother Jialanzi, Xiao Han grew up in the Pure Cloud sect. From a living target, he became the current master of the plane. His life has been extremely legendary, and he does not lose to any immortal. During this period, Xiao Han has also experienced various experiences, and many times he was on the verge of death. However, Every time he was in danger, Xiao Han was able to escape. And every time he escaped danger, Xiao Han was able to greatly improve. This time, I have a vague feeling that Xiao Han will succeed in the bet with Heaven Emperor and the other evil immortals. Huh? Jialanzi thought for a few breaths and finally nodded. If that's the case, Brother Xiao should be careful. In order for Heaven Emperor to agree to this bet, I will not secretly protect Brother Xiao during this half a year. Brother Jialanzi, please do not worry about me. Xiao Han had completely let go of his mind and was ready to accept this experience and deal with a group of powerful immortals. Good. Now, I will go and inform Heaven Emperor and the others of this bet. Jialanzi nodded slightly at Xiao Han and Wu Yu, then turned into a stream of light and flew away. Sect leader, if I can come out unscathed after half a year, then I will completely compete with these immortals. Xiao Han said solemnly. Chapter 588. After Xiao Han and Jialanzi had finished their discussion, Jialanzi took the lead to negotiate with Heaven Emperor and the other immortals about the bet. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. Sect Master, this disciple will be going on a long journey. During this half a year, this disciple will conceal his presence and hide in the mortal world. When the time comes, I will not return to the mountain range. Xiao Han said to Wu Yu with a serious expression. Xiao Han, I know your good intentions. Wu Yu also stared at Xiao Han. Other than wanting to take this opportunity to gain experience, you also want to restrain those bad immortals so that they will not harm the common people of this plane. More importantly, you want to protect the entire Cloud Sect. Xiao Han, you should quickly say goodbye to your wife and son. Xiao Han was not pretentious. After this farewell, he did not know when he would be able to reunite with his wife and son. Therefore Xiao Han also hurriedly returned to his true inheritance Mountain Peak. After returning home, Xiao Han held his son Xiaoan in his arms. He dotingly touched his son's smooth cheeks and told some parting words to his wives. Don't worry, I should have enough resources to deal with Heaven Emperor and the other immortals. Xiao Han promised his wives. I swear that I will definitely grow to the point where I can fight against immortals. In the future, I will no longer have to wander the world and suffer the pain of being separated from my family. Xiao Han, don't worry. I will take care of our son and sisters. Mo Qing Tong gently held Xiao Han's hand and said softly. Qing Tong believes in you. We are all here looking forward to your return day and night. Jing Yanxue said reluctantly. Lan Shirong and Princess Mo Hen let go of their reservations and nestled in Xiao Han's arms. Jialanzi. Xiao Han. Don't think that a mere illusion can trap me. Emperor Firmament and the other immortals shouted. At this moment, they were still trapped in the illusion created by Jialanzi. They could not escape. Although the power of Heaven Emperor and the other immortals could definitely break this illusion, it was not something that could be done in a short period of time. Unless he used his trump card, but Emperor Tsangtian was unwilling to use his trump card in advance at a time like this. In terms of resources, Heaven Emperor was indeed not as good as Jialanzi. Jialanzi could casually throw out a magic treasure that could create an illusion to trap Heaven Emperor. However, Heaven Emperor could not easily use his magic treasures to escape. Dozens of immortals bombarded the illusionary light barrier repeatedly. Gradually, tiny cracks appeared on the barrier. One of the evil-looking immortals said, "The Firmament Sun is about to succeed." Master Heaven roared, "Xiao Han, you have guts. How dare you trick me? I swear that I'll definitely capture you and ravage you alive. Cripple that ridiculous cultivation of yours. I'll kill your entire family, old and young, into dregs. Mortals who were worse than pigs and dogs. How dare you make fun of me?" Boom! While cursing, Son of Heaven Firmament unleashed an immortal sword. He ruthlessly slashed at the illusory light membrane that was on the verge of shattering, directly blasting a hole in it. He seemed to have vented all of his anger, hatred, and killing intent towards Xiao Han. Just then, Son of Heaven? Jialanzi's voice suddenly resounded within the illusory light film. At the same time, Jialanzi arrived riding the wind and stood on a seven-colored auspicious cloud. His entire body emitted a moist luster and his appearance was solemn. Jialanzi, if you insist on taking revenge on Xiao Han, or even want to start a massacre in this plane and humiliate mortals, then don't even think about getting a place to enter the second layer of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Roar! Jialanzi, you hypocrite. After seeing Jialanzi, Son of Heaven Firmament became even more furious. You actually colluded with a puny mortal to make fun of me. Jialanzi, I swear to fight with you. You're just relying on the sect's heritage and the fact that you have more magic treasures than me? But it doesn't matter, I also have a trump card in my hand. Let's fight. Let's see who will win and who will lose in the secular world. After pausing for a moment, Son of Heaven Firmament's eyes focused. Jialanzi, let's fight and decide who will belong to Xiao Han. Jialanzi shook his head slightly. Son of Heaven Firmament, you're wrong. Brother Zhao's fate is not something we can decide. I think you've misunderstood the key point. The place to enter the second layer of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure is in Brother Zhao's hands. If you dare to do anything to Brother Xiao, then Brother Xiao absolutely has the right to expel you and refuse to give you the place. This decision has been approved by my sect and the few immortal emperors above. If you're stubborn, when we return to the immortal world, you, Son of Heaven Firmament, will also be punished. Nonsense. The future of I, Son of Heaven Firmament, will not be decided by immortal. Son of Heaven Firmament roared. Jialanzi, you're so dignified. You probably don't want me to enter the exploration a few years later, so you're using your official position for personal gain and asked Xiao Han to expel me. I won't be convinced by you, let's fight. The dozens of immortals in the alliance with Son of Heaven Firmament also glared at Jialanzi like tigers watching their prey, ready to fight. These immortals had spent countless resources of their sect and passed through strict selections to obtain the opportunity to descend to the mortal world. It was absolutely impossible for them to give up the chance to enter the second layer of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. However, even if they were not convinced, these immortals, including Son of Heaven Firmament, also had hidden worries in their hearts. After all, Jialanzi's background was too deep. Once he used the power of his sect and even the few immortal emperors above him to suppress Son of Heaven Firmament and the others, it would indeed be somewhat troublesome. Forget it, let's cut the crap. Son of Heaven Firmament, listen carefully. Finally, Jialanzi said with a serious face. Regarding the place to enter the second layer of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure, both of us can't come to an agreement. We might as well not argue anymore. Brother Xiao is willing to make a bet with you, Son of Heaven Firmament. Bet? Son of Heaven Firmament was stunned for a moment before bursting into laughter. Jialanzi, are you kidding me? Bet. An ant-like mortal wants to bet with me, Son of Heaven Firmament? Ah. It seems that Jialanzi, you have been interacting with mortals for a long time and have some problems with your brain. What qualifications does a mortal have to bet with an immortal? Ha ha ha. The immortals behind Son of Heaven Firmament also laughed wildly as if they had heard the funniest thing in the world. These guys. Arrogant and conceited. Foolish beyond compare. Jialanzi thought. He sighed with emotion. If they continue to see Brother Xiao as a weak mortal, then this bet is very likely for them to lose. Listen. Jialanzi's voice interrupted the unbridled laughter of Son of Heaven Firmament and the other immortals. Now Brother Xiao will hide in the mortal world. Within half a year you are free to search. If you can find Brother Xiao, then, Son of Heaven Firmament, Brother Xiao will give you a total of 100 places to enter the second layer of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. You are free to distribute them. On the contrary, if you cannot find Brother Xiao within half a year, then please return to the immortal world immediately and do not harass him. Ha! As soon as Jialanzi said this, Son of Heaven Firmament and the other immortals suddenly became silent. One by one. You look at me, I look at you. It was as if they could not believe Jialanzi's words. This bet. Son of Heaven Firmament's eyes flickered. I have already memorized Xiao Han's aura with my immortal sense. This is a mere mortal world. No matter where Xiao Han is hiding, I will find him in an instant. Jialanzi. Your crafty schemes cannot deceive me at all. There is something wrong with this bet. If I'm not wrong, you'll probably help Xiao Han in secret, or simply send Xiao Han to another plane, or let him rest in the vast universe for half a year. Son of Heaven Firmament, do you think I, Jialanzi, am such a despicable person? Jialanzi scolded. I will absolutely not interfere in this bet. I can also guarantee that Brother Xiao will not leave this plane. I, Jialanzi, have always been a man of my words and I never lie. This is something that the entire immortal world has witnessed. Jialanzi paused for a moment and added. Moreover, I will not give Brother Xiao any magical treasures to hide his aura. This bet is a game between you and Brother Xiao. I will absolutely not participate. Hearing this, Son of Heaven Firmament and the other immortals could not help but secretly nod their heads. Yes, Jialanzi's words had always been honest. He was a famous master and they had never heard of him spouting nonsense in the immortal world. Son of Heaven Firmament, during this half a year, You are not allowed to destroy this plane, let alone kill the creatures of this plane. Otherwise the bet will be nullified. So, do you dare to make the bet? Jialanzi questioned. Ah, I don't dare? I, son of heaven firmament, don't dare? Why would I, son of heaven firmament, not dare to make a bet with a mere mortal? Dill. Immediately, son of heaven firmament also agreed. Jialanzi, when I capture Xiaohan, I hope you will not go back on your words and obstruct me again. Otherwise don't blame me for being impolite. I, son of heaven firmament, am afraid of killing Xiaohan, but it is not that I am afraid to kill all the other creatures of this plane. Forget it, son of heaven firmament, you can search for brother Xiao in this half a year. Jialanzi's figure dissipated and retreated. The next moment, poof, the illusory light film that enveloped son of heaven firmament and the other immortals was directly destroyed. Whoosh, 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 son of heaven firmament and the other immortals flew out one by one. Many immortals, with son of heaven firmament as the core, gathered together. Son of heaven firmament, this bet is very strange. Could it be a trap? A few immortals asked at the same time. Although Jialanzi is a hypocrite and sanctimonious, he is also a man of his word. Son of heaven firmament smiled coldly. It seems that Xiaohan wants to use this bet to restrain us so that we will not wantonly kill the mortals in this plane. You are all very familiar with Xiaohan's aura. Then all of you search carefully. Release your immortal senses. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you must find Xiaohan. Alright. Son of heaven firmament, don't worry. With our immortal senses, it is impossible that we cannot find Xiaohan. Tisk tsk? After we obtain 100 spots, we can wantonly extort other immortals and raise the price. Ah. Capturing Xiaohan is a piece of cake. These 100 spots are simply at our fingertips. At the same time, Xiaohan had quietly left the Unity Mountain range. Xiaohan was wearing a green robe and did not bring any luggage with him. He left the Unity Mountain range on foot alone. Chapter 589. The bet has begun. Xiaohan murmured as he gazed at the Misty Mountain range. This is a game of the hunter and the hunted. However, who is the hunter and who is the prey is still unknown. Pure Cloud Sect, I will be back. In the next moment, Xiaohan strode towards the outer region of the Pure Cloud Mountain range with large strides. While Xiaohan was walking, the aura of his immortal physique disappeared without a trace. Soon after, his true chi ripples and the functions of his flesh were completely sealed. Now, I look like an ordinary person who doesn't know martial arts. However, it's still not enough to deceive the heavens and heaven's son and the other extraordinary immortals. Then, Xiaohan's eyes flickered slightly. In the next moment, the solid mental force star in his sea of consciousness suddenly shrank. The soul fluctuations and life aura were all retracted. They were tightly shrunk into a ball. Just like that, even Xiaohan's soul fluctuations were perfectly sealed in the solid mental force star. Soon, whoosh, 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 within the solid mental force star, a few deliberately distorted spiritual fluctuations were shot out by Xiaohan. After these few soul fluctuations were distorted, Xiaohan's temperament suddenly changed greatly. Now Xiaohan's temperament had lost its previous liveliness and carefreeness. It was no longer domineering and unruly. Instead, it seemed very vulgar and uncouth. The strength of my soul mental force won't lose to ordinary immortals. Moreover, the extinguishing heaven and earth mental force also has some tricks to change the characteristics of the soul and temperament. Now, I'm just going to disguise myself a little. Heaven's son, what can you do to me? Xiaohan's figure moved faster and faster. Gradually he disappeared without a trace. At the same time, above the Pure Cloud Mountain range, a vast immortal sense swept across. Brother Xiao is indeed mysterious. Even I can't sense Brother Xiao's existence all of a sudden. Jialanzi appeared in the Pure Cloud Palace. He was indeed a man who kept his promise. Since he said that he would not interfere with the bet between Xiaohan and Heaven's Son and the others, he would definitely not interfere. Even the immortal sense mark that he left on Xiaohan's body to secretly protect Xiaohan had been completely removed. As a result, Jialanzi could only rely on his immortal sense to search for Xiaohan. Tsk. Amazing. Marvelous. Jialanzi repeatedly used his immortal senses to scan Xiaohan's soul spirit aura, but he still couldn't find Xiaohan. It seems that these foolish fellows, such as the Son of Heaven, are very likely to suffer a great loss because of Brother Xiao. Immortal Jialanzi. At this moment, Crown Head, Xiao Mingqiu, Dongfang Qin and Feng Ling came out at the same time. Jialanzi smiled faintly. Search for him. Convey my order and descend into the secular world. East, south, west, west, great wilderness, 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 city by city. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you must find Xiaohan. In addition, seek help from the other immortals that descend and ask them to help us find Xiaohan. After a pause, Firmament Son of Heaven's eyes turned. Spread the word that any immortal that descends into this realm, as long as they capture Xiaohan, I, Firmament Son of Heaven, am willing to give them a spot to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Judao's treasure. Moreover, I, Firmament Son of Heaven, will owe them a favor. Big Brother Firmament Son of Heaven, a spot to search for treasures and a favor from you? The other immortals were all shocked. One should know that Firmament Son of Heaven was definitely an outstanding genius among the younger generation in the immortal world. Although his background was not as good as Jialanzi's, it was still quite extraordinary. Some immortal emperors even believed that he would definitely have a great future. A favor from him was too precious. Spread the word. With a great reward there will be brave men. I don't believe that we can't find a mere mortal. Firmament Son of Heaven grinned. Eastern Domain. In a small country. This country was very ordinary in the prosperous Eastern Domain. It was inconspicuous. In such an ordinary country, there were not even a few martial arts sections. However, even in such an inconspicuous country, there were countless people. In the streets and alleys, peddlers and servants, all kinds of life could be seen. At this time, in a county in this country, a bearded man was leisurely sitting by the window on the second floor of a restaurant, drinking his morning tea. Master Yun. Your barbecued pork buns. The waiter happily carried a plate of freshly made barbecued pork buns and obediently placed it on the table of the bearded man. The bearded man had come to this county a month ago and had been staying in this restaurant. Although he looked rough, he was a bit arrogant. Although he looked rough, he was very friendly and generous. Soon, he became a distinguished guest in the hearts of the restaurant, from the boss to the waiters. The bearded man smiled indifferently. He took out some gold and silver from his bosom and casually gave them to the waiter. The waiter's face was completely rotten from smiling and he said repeatedly, "Please enjoy your meal, please enjoy your meal." Then he grabbed the gold and silver on the table and left happily. This bearded man. It was Xiaohan in disguise. Xiaohan had deliberately changed the aura of his soul to hide from the immortal's search. However, as the master of the plane, he had built many temples in the mortal world to worship him. Many temples were built to worship him. This forced Xiaohan to change his appearance and disguise himself to fool the eyes of the common people. Therefore, he disguised himself as a rough man with a full beard, which matched his temperament at the moment. I've lived in the mortal world for a whole month. Xiaohan ate the barbecued pork buns on the plate. Every cell in his body was filled with satisfaction. I've put down my identity and everything. I've been living with peddlers and pawns all day long. Instead, my heart is getting calmer and calmer. The true acupoints in my body are getting more and more solid. Even the 71st true acupoint feels like it could burst at any time. After a pause, Xiaohan raised his eyes and looked at the sky playfully. Coincidentally, the area where Xiaohan's eyes landed was where Heaven Emperor was. Heaven Emperor, you guys have been searching for me for a month, but you can't even find my fart. I'm afraid you guys will spend half a year in vain. Tiske, with Heaven Emperor as the leader, dozens of immortals can't even find a mortal like me. How ironic. Xiaohan sipped a few more mouthfuls of tea and ate a few barbecued pork buns. Then he stretched comfortably, stood up and said to the waiter, "Send lunch to my room later. I'll go back and take a nap." "Can Master Yun please help yourself?" The waiter nodded and bowed. In the mortal world, Xiaohan's alias was ***. In a spacious suite, Xiaohan sat cross-legged in a small winding garden at the back. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, there was a faint sound of an undercurrent coming from Xiaohan's left arm. It was as if a violent disaster was erupting inside Xiaohan's left arm. "I've finally refined it completely." Xiaohan was secretly delighted. After a month, the demon monarch left arm palm has finally refined the divine sword son's immortal body fragment. Tiske, after devouring and refining the essence of an immortal's corpse, the demon monarch left arm palm has evolved again. The demonic energy has skyrocketed. Xiaohan activated the spirit turtle true chi to seal the demonic energy in his left arm. At the same time, he released a spiritual wave into his left arm. Inside Xiaohan's left arm, it was as if a demon realm was brewing. The demonic chi within was dense and evil. The demonic veins were like evil dragons coiling around each other. It was filled with the demonic aura of ancient times. Now, after refining the Divine Sword Son's immortal body, the number of demon veins awakened in my demon monarch left arm palm has reached 120 million. The capacity of each demon vein has expanded to 6,000 times that of an ordinary demon emperor with a bloodline. In this way, my pure demonic energy has reached 72 trillion cauldrons, which is equivalent to the strength of 7 immortal dragons. It's also the basic strength of an ordinary level 1 true immortal. Xiao Han was also very satisfied. Then a light of eagerness burst out from Xiao Han's eyes. Damn it, if I can kill a few more immortals to feed the demon monarch left arm palm, it'll be awesome. It seems that I can't keep hiding forever. When the time is right, I'll have to take the initiative to attack. I'll deliberately release my true aura to lure some immortals and then kill them directly. Chapter 590. Xiao Han's concealment technique was indeed extraordinary. It caused Heaven's Son and the other immortals to use their immortal senses to search this plane repeatedly for nearly a month. They had almost dug 3 feet into the ground, but they still could not find Xiao Han in the vast sea of people. Xiao Han's soul and mental strength were even stronger than the immortals like Heaven's Son. Therefore, Xiao Han's mental strength could clearly capture the immortal senses of those immortals. On the contrary, those immortals' immortal senses could not lock onto Xiao Han's mental strength. Xiao Han was in the dark while the immortals were out in the open. At this moment, strands of immortal senses swept past Xiao Han's body. Xiao Han deliberately distorted a few of his mental strength to allow these immortal senses to capture him. Naturally, these immortal senses were confused by the fake mental strength and soul aura created by Xiao Han and could not distinguish anything at all. After the immortal senses swept past the area where Xiao Han was at, they continued to sweep into the distance. Very soon they had thoroughly filtered the entire county of this small country. Why do you have to do this? Xiao Han stretched his body lazily and returned to his room. He happily sat beside the square table and prepared to enjoy today's sumptuous lunch. For the past month every day there would be immortal senses sweeping through this county, this country, the 4 regions of the east, south, west, and the great wilderness. But I'm still sitting here without being discovered. Son of the Heaven, is this all you have? It was ironic to think about it. The immortal senses of Heaven's Son and the other immortals would appear in the area where Xiao Han was at every day. They would even sweep past Xiao Han every day. Every day Xiao Han would leisurely sit on the 2nd floor of this restaurant and drink tea. Sometimes he would go to the street to drink with a group of idlers and play finger-guessing games. Otherwise he would go to the alley to play chess and chat with a group of old men. Xiao Han completely ignored the scanning of Heaven's Son and the others. There was no trace of him at all. Half a year. If I don't deliberately reveal a flaw, these guys won't be able to find me at all. Xiao Han smiled with satisfaction. After lunch, Xiao Han sat in the garden and basked in the sun. His eyes slightly narrowed as he looked up at the blue sky and murmured, "It's not that I, Xiao Han, don't have any goals. To hide for half a year without being found by Heaven's Son and the others? That's not the true purpose of the bet. In the next 6 months I, Xiao Han, will not only deal with those heartless immortals, but also fight them in the truest sense. My demon, the arch left arm palm, is hungry and thirsty. It needs a large number of immortal corpses to feed it." Right now, Xiao Han's demonic monarch left arm demonic monarch palm was unable to evolve after absorbing ordinary demonic chi or even devouring the corpses of demonic monarchs. It could be said that the demonic monarch left arm demonic monarch palm had reached a bottleneck and it was hard for it to advance. But now, the demonic sovereign left arm palm could even devour and refine the corpse of an immortal. This meant that it no longer had any bottlenecks. It was even more precious than the corpses of many ordinary demonic race sovereigns. Heaven's Son, a prodigy of the immortal world who is said to be on par with Brother Jialan. He is eager to capture me. However, if I devour him and feed him to my left arm demon god palm, then it will be fun. I wonder to what extent will my left arm demon god palm evolve to? Xiao Han's heart was getting more and more restless. He couldn't help but stick out his tongue and lick his lips. Without Brother Jialan by my side, I can actually do whatever I want without the slightest restriction. Xiao Han actually had an extremely bold idea: to kill Heaven's Son. To devour the immortal body of Heaven's Son. Moreover, this bold idea did not vanish quickly. Instead, it became more and more mature. This caused Xiao Han's killing intent towards Heaven's Son to become more and more intense. If there's nothing wrong with my spiritual force, then Heaven's immortal sense will sweep through this city every day. In other words, Heaven's Son is in the eastern region. Not only could Jialanzi, Heaven's Son, and the other immortals remember Xiao Han's soul aura and life force through their immortal sense, Xiao Han could also use his own spiritual force to firmly remember the traces of immortal sense and life force of these immortals, making it easy to identify them. The frequency of Heaven's immortal sense and even the life force of his entire body could be detected by Xiao Han's spiritual force. There was no mistake. Xiao Han was certain that Heaven's Son was in the eastern region. Since Heaven's Son is in the eastern region, then I'll temporarily avoid him. Xiao Han decided on the next step of his plan. Although he had the idea of killing Heaven's Son, Xiao Han currently did not have enough resources to directly contend against Heaven's Son. After all, in terms of immortal force and immortal technique, Heaven's Son would not lose to Jialanzi. He was a bright star among the younger generation of the immortal world. Xiao Han knew that even if he launched a sneak attack, he would not be able to pose any threat to Heaven's Son. Instead, he would be killed. Therefore, Xiao Han also decided to temporarily leave the eastern region and avoid Heaven's Son. Ah? Master Yun, you're leaving? The manager of the restaurant looked at Xiao Han with a face full of regret. In the past month, this extravagant tycoon had brought a lot of profit to this restaurant. Now that they heard that this master was leaving, a sense of loss welled up in the hearts of the people in the restaurant. Ha ha ha, Xiao Han laughed out loud in a hoarse voice. His laughter was extremely heroic and it was very compatible with his current image and temperament. All good things must come to an end. I'm leaving too. Ha ha. After saying that, Xiao Han turned around and left in a carefree manner. Not long after Xiao Han left the county, whoosh whoosh whoosh, a few figures within different auras suddenly descended as if they were monarchs descending upon the world. The one in the lead was Heaven's Son. Big brother Heaven's Son, that Xiao Han has hidden himself too well. We've spent a lot of effort to use our immortal sense to scan the eastern region. It's not an exaggeration to say that we've searched almost all the living beings in the eastern region, but we still couldn't find Xiao Han's whereabouts. Now we have no choice but to enter the secular world to search for clues. That Xiao Han is really difficult to deal with. Maybe he's not even in the eastern region? A female immortal beside Heaven's Son grumbled. Heaven's Son glared at the female immortal discontentedly, causing her to keep quiet out of fear. The female immortal immediately changed the topic. Big brother Heaven's Son, we've already sent out your order. Most of the immortals that have arrived in this plane know about it. If we capture Xiao Han, we'll get a place to enter the second floor of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure and a favor from you. As soon as this message was released, it received the support of many immortals. Now, not only us, there are at least hundreds of immortals searching everywhere for Xiao Han. Big brother Heaven's Son, this way. We don't have to worry about not being able to capture Xiao Han. Of course, what we're most afraid of is Jialanzi interfering. There's no need to worry about Jialanzi. I know this person very well. He won't interfere. Heaven's Son smiled coldly. All right, since we've entered the secular world, we'll carefully investigate the various countries in the eastern region. Xiao Han is extremely famous in this plane. He's known as the master of this plane. He's fully deserving of being the leader of this plane. In the secular world, temples had been built in many places to worship him. So, if Xiao Han's true body were to appear, it would be impossible for him to do so. If Xiao Han's true body appears in the secular world, it will definitely cause a commotion. However, our immortal senses are constantly monitoring this person's appearance. In the past month, there hasn't been any sensational event. There weren't any sensational events and there weren't any waves stirring. In other words, Xiao Han, this guy, has most likely changed his appearance. Yes. What Heaven's Son said is very true. Xiao Han is most likely in disguise and mingling with the people of the secular world. He won't be discovered by anyone. The immortals standing beside Heaven's Son nodded in agreement. From now on, mobilize the mortals of this plane and begin the investigation. Search every inch of this plane. Find all the unfamiliar faces that have appeared in the secular world in the past month. Heaven's Son said with certainty. Give these mortals gold and silver. Launch a carpet search. Mobilize 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, and even 10 million mortals. I don't believe that I can't find Xiao Han in half a year. Alright, Heaven's Son, we can mobilize the manpower of some sects and empires in the secular world. We can even use the most well-informed hooligans in each city to track down the suspicious strangers that have appeared in the past month. Launch the operation immediately. Heaven's Son ordered. Xiao Han spurred his horse on and galloped for 3 days and 3 nights. He left the country he was previously in and traveled day and night, passing through 3 countries. When the sun set on the 4th day, he arrived at a prosperous empire in the eastern region, the Yanhu Empire. Yanhu Empire. Flying Heaven City. Xiao Han was leading a black horse as he walked along the main road of Flying Sky City, looking travel-worn. Flying Heaven City was very densely populated. The streets were wide enough for several horses to walk side by side. The streets were bustling with pedestrians. It was early evening and the whole city was charming. The air was filled with the fragrance of cosmetics, wine, and all kinds of delicious food. What a prosperous city! Xiao Han no longer hurried on his journey. He led his horse and walked leisurely while observing. He had completely forgotten his identity and completely immersed himself in the cheerful and peaceful atmosphere of the secular world. Although with Xiao Han's physique he did not feel the slightest bit tired after continuously traveling for a few days, he still felt a little tired at this moment. I might as well stay in this city for a few days before leaving the eastern region. These few days I've been observing as I hurried on my way. The aura of heaven's celestial sense has been lingering in the eastern region and has never left. It seems like the immortals who are pursuing me have also divided their territories. Heaven's Son should be mainly in charge of the eastern region. Xiao Han continued to walk as he spread out his spiritual force to survey the situation in the city. Suddenly Xiao Han discovered that there were a few strands of celestial qi mixed in with the crowd in the city. Although these strands of celestial qi were deliberately concealed, they could not escape the detection of Xiao Han's spiritual force. Moreover, Xiao Han was certain that one of the strands of immortal qi belonged to an immortal who worked with Emperor Chang Tian to capture and kill him in the past. At the same time, have you seen any strangers entering or leaving this inn recently? A small group of soldiers entered an inn and asked carefully. The owner of the inn pondered for a moment before shaking his head. During this period of time, all the people staying in the inn are regulars. There haven't been any unfamiliar faces. If there are any strangers entering the inn, report it immediately. You can't protect them. The soldiers gave the owner some instructions before leaving the inn. After exiting the inn, a young soldier said to a middle-aged soldier, "Brother Zhang, why are we searching for unfamiliar faces all over the city? Whose idea is this?" It's said that some mysterious people have appeared and offered a large sum of money to search for strangers who have appeared in our Flying Sky City in the past month. The middle-aged soldier said with a smile. It's said that those mysterious people are extremely generous. The money they offered is irresistible. Who cares, we're just putting on an act. It'll be best if we can find any strangers, but if we can't, then forget it. Xiao Han discovered that the entire city was filled with soldiers who were in full uniform, searching for unfamiliar faces. At the end of the streets, there were also many idlers who were searching everywhere. Oh? Immortals who are mingling in this city? And soldiers who are searching everywhere for strangers? Xiao Han rubbed his nose. Things are getting interesting. In the next moment Xiao Han stretched his muscles. I've been idle for more than a month. Now it's finally time to get down to business. Heaven's Son, let the battle between us officially begin. Chapter 591. Xiao Han disguised his identity and roamed the Jianghu. When he arrived at Flying Sky City in the eastern region's Flame Empire, he discovered that there were a few immortals hiding in the mortal world. Moreover, a large number of soldiers and local tyrants were investigating the unfamiliar faces that entered Flying Sky City recently. Xiao Han already had an answer in his heart. A month ago, Heaven Emperor and the other immortals scanned me with their immortal senses but found nothing. Now they've increased the intensity of their investigation and mobilized the mortals to look for this unfamiliar face of mine. Interesting. Inexplicably, Xiao Han's blood surged with excitement, especially from the demon the arch left arm palm. Waves of throbbing reached Xiao Han's soul. It was a bloodthirsty throbbing. It seemed that the demon the arch left arm palm had tasted the sweetness of refining an immortal's corpse. Now it desired to devour another immortal. It doesn't matter. I'll find a place to stay first and then slowly deal with Heaven Emperor and the others. Although their investigation is very tight, they definitely won't be able to find me in a short period of time. Xiao Han led his horse and found a pagoda-shaped inn by the roadside. While he was handling the check-in procedures, the innkeeper kept staring at Xiao Han. Obviously, Xiao Han's unfamiliar face had attracted the innkeeper's attention. Moreover, Xiao Han's appearance and temperament were too rough and eye-catching. "Sir, may I know where you're coming from? Where are you going?" Finally, the innkeeper could not help but ask. "If you want to stay, then stay. Why do you have so much nonsense to ask?" Xiao Han purposely shouted in a hoarse voice. The innkeeper was so scared that he trembled and did not dare to ask any more questions. After Xiao Han checked into the room, the innkeeper hurriedly called a few waiters over and whispered to them. "The guest who just checked in is very unfamiliar. I'm not sure if he's the stranger that those soldiers are looking for. But from the looks of his fierce face, he looks very much like a criminal. Listen up, quickly go and report to the city defense army," the innkeeper said in a low voice. "Innkeeper Ma, it can't be so coincidental, right? Our Flying Sky City is also a large city. The number of people coming and going every day is extremely terrifying. Every day there will be new faces coming from the various countries of the eastern region. Even if someone from the other domains enters Flying Sky City, I think he's just an ordinary customer. It's unlikely that he's the stranger the higher-ups are looking for." A waiter muttered. "You know nothing. Regardless of whether he was the person the higher-ups were looking for or not, it was never wrong to report the news. Do you know how much the reward is? Let me tell you, if you're lucky enough to bump into us and get the reward, we won't have to work anymore. Everyone can go back to being rich landlords," shopkeeper Ma said with stars in his eyes. A few of the waiters eagerly left. "Oh, you really went to report?" Xiao Han sat in his room. The square table was filled with the most famous delicacies of Flying Sky City. As Xiao Han wolfed down the food, he released his spiritual fluctuations, perfectly controlling the movements of the grass in the surrounding area. Afterward, Xiao Han's spiritual undulations spread out like ripples, quickly and soundlessly enveloping the entire Flying Sky City. "What are those immortals doing in this city? Let me see." Xiao Han's main task was to monitor the immortals in the city. His spiritual fluctuations locked onto the aura of the immortals' immortal senses. So, he found the immortals. Among them, there were 4 immortals who were chatting freely in a private room of a restaurant. The leader of these 4 immortals was a young man with a sarcoma on his forehead. This young man was dressed in luxurious clothing. Not only did the sarcoma on his forehead not become an eyesore, but it also gave him a promising temperament. It was very domineering. Xiao Han vaguely remembered this young man. It was the guy who had chased after and captured him along the way with Heaven Emperor. There were 3 immortals sitting below this young man. All of them were male. Xiao Han did not know these 3 immortals. At this moment, the promising young man was talking non-stop. "Everyone I do Longzi have formed an alliance with Big Brother Heaven Emperor. It will be of great benefit for the exploration of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure in a few years. Think about it, Big Brother Heaven Emperor's prestige in the immortal world. Haha, this time, there are a lot of young immortals who have descended to the various planes of the immortal world, but among them, how many can surpass Big Brother Heaven Emperor? Now I will be the mediator. If everyone joins Big Brother Heaven Emperor, we will be able to take care of each other in the second layer of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. Under Big Brother Heaven Emperor's leadership, everyone will have a high chance of obtaining treasures. It's better than going alone, right?" As soon as he said this, the other 3 immortals exchanged glances. Judging from their appearance, they seemed to have no interest in joining Heaven Emperor Ju Dao. "Du Longzi I Fei Heezy, am used to living like a wild crane. This is how it is in the immortal world. Don't try to persuade me." A young man with a square face shook his head slightly. The other 2 immortals also said in unison. "Let's talk about the cooperation this time. Du Longzi, who is Heaven Emperor Ju Dao looking for? He is actually willing to use a favor as a bargaining chip. Moreover, he promised a spot to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. It can increase your lifespan by more than 10 years. What's so great about it? Don't worry, I will keep my word," the immortal said disdainfully. Xiao Han slightly retracted his mental wave. "Heaven Emperor Ju made such a big fuss just to find me? Ha ha ha." Xiao Han drank a mouthful of wine and shook his head while laughing. At this moment, outside the room, the atmosphere was foul. "Oh, so fast?" Xiao Han put down his wine cup. At this moment, bang, bang bang, bang bang bang. There was a violent knock on the door. Then the door opened and a few fierce-looking soldiers swarmed in. The leader of the group glared at Xiao Han, then bared his teeth and said, "You stand up." Xiao Han completely ignored these soldiers and continued to drink. "Impudent. The soldiers roared when they saw this. Quickly stand up. I think you are new here and this is your first time in Flying Sky City, right? You look unfamiliar. Come with us immediately. Oh? Go with you? Where are we going? Xiao Han said with a faint smile. Of course to the city lord's mansion. Ha ha. This is the biggest joke in the world. To the city lord's mansion? Although this is my first time in Flying Sky City, I have not committed any crimes. You want to directly escort me to the city lord's mansion? What kind of law is this? Ah. All of you get out of my way. Xiao Han's body did not move. All of a sudden, the cells in his body emitted a slight wave of true energy and shook the air. Bang, 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 bang. These soldiers were directly sent flying. One by one they rolled on the ground like gourds. Flying Sky City. The city lord's mansion. The mysterious immortal had already left. It was late at night. The city lord and a few of his trusted subordinates were discussing in the study. City lord, we have mobilized so many people and searched the entire city for unfamiliar faces. Isn't this inappropriate? An old man with a goatee said worriedly. This will make people panic. Moreover, many foreign merchants will be frightened and will not dare to do business in our Flying Sky City. In the long run, it will be extremely detrimental to the development of our Flying Sky City. It's fine. As long as we can get elixirs that can increase one's lifespan, or even some high-level martial arts skills, all the costs will be worth it. The city lord's tone was firm and then he sighed. When I was young, I also practiced martial arts. However, my aptitude was too poor and I could not reach the true energy realm. In recent years, my body has been deteriorating and there are obvious signs of aging. I don't want to die like this. I still want to live on. City Lord, we understand your thoughts very well, but those mysterious people, do they really have elixirs that can increase one's lifespan? Those people all have remarkable abilities. I have seen with my own eyes that they can revive withered flowers and trees, and even have the ability to turn stone into gold. They are very powerful. Moreover, according to the information I have received, it is not only our Flying Sky City that is wantonly interrogating strangers. Many empires and cities in the eastern region are doing the same thing. The city lord said. At this moment, City Lord. A middle-aged burly man in a general's uniform walked directly into the study. This person was the commander of the Flying Sky City City Defense Army. General Luo, what's the matter? The city lord asked hurriedly. City Lord, my soldiers have been interrogating strangers throughout the city for the past few days. However, just now, in the process of interrogating people, we encountered resistance. An unfamiliar face not only refused to enter the city lord's mansion, but also injured my soldiers. His attitude is extremely bad. I suspect that this person is most likely the wanted criminal of those mysterious people. Chapter 592. What? Something like this actually happened. Hearing the words of the City Defense Army commander, the city lord and his trusted aides jumped up at the same time. Their faces were dyed with shock and anger. One had to know that the Flying City Defense Army had been interrogating outsiders for several days. During this period, the City Defense Army had brought away countless unfamiliar faces and brought them directly to the city lord's residence. They had never met with any resistance. At most, there would be some strangers who would complain a little, but in the end they would obediently cooperate. Even some true energy realm martial artists were no exception. This was because this flying city belonged to the eastern region's powerful Jianghu Empire. And this city lord of Flying City was inextricably linked to some of the most famous martial sects in the Jianghu Empire. As the saying goes, a powerful dragon cannot suppress a local snake. Therefore, even if a true energy realm martial artist arrived at Flying City, they could only cooperate when faced with the investigation. They did not dare to resist, lest they invite trouble upon themselves. This is outrageous. The city lord's trusted aides were all enraged, jumping up and down one by one. General Luo, please personally lead the City Defense Army elites to capture that stubborn stranger. Capture him. Torture and torture him. Wait. Suddenly the city lord roared. At this moment, the city lord's face was dyed with a look of surprise. This matter, I'm afraid it's not that simple. It's thought-provoking. It's very thought-provoking. City Lord, what do you mean? The trusted aides, as well as the City Defense Army General Luo, all looked at the City Lord. Perhaps, it's the unfamiliar face that those mysterious people are looking for. Endless greed and desire suddenly blossomed in the City Lord's eyes. If he doesn't have a guilty conscience, Why would he resist? General Luo. Immediately lead the troops to surround the area where the unfamiliar face lives. We must not let him escape. I'll inform those mysterious people now. This is no small matter. Quickly lead the troops and leave. Oh, this general obeys? General Luo responded. After a pause, the city lord could not help but ask. Everyone, could it be that this is a heaven-sent opportunity? His voice was trembling. If it's really the target that those mysterious people are looking for, then we're going to make a huge profit. All kinds of gold and silver, precious medicines and immortal pills. All kinds of rare treasures that can only be encountered by luck. Quick, hurry up and control that fellow. Don't let him escape. After Xiao Han forced back the group of aggressive soldiers, Xiao Han turned around. He didn't leave immediately. Instead, he sat in the room leisurely, warmed a pot of wine and savored it carefully. Meanwhile, Xiao Han also released his psychic energy to the fullest. In the inn, the shopkeeper, the waiters, and the others had already blocked the door. Innkeeper, that customer, there's something fishy about him. He actually injured a few city guards. Could it be that he has a guilty conscience? The group of waiters were shocked and frightened. Each and every one of them was holding a big stick, a big knife and other weapons in their hands. He was very nervous. You know nothing. Hurry up and block them. I can't let that guy escape now. Later, General Luo of the city guard will personally come over with his men. The shopkeeper licked his lips and said, maybe this is our good fortune. As for the other guests in the inn, they had all closed their doors and windows. But they were also discussing with great curiosity. Soon, knock knock knock. Knock knock knock. Knock knock knock. In all directions the sound of horses' hooves could be heard. Occasionally there were sounds of chickens and dogs jumping, passers-by screaming, and the sound of doors and windows closing. The bustling night of Feitian City actually gave birth to a sense of chaos and chaos. All these changes were completely grasped by Xiao Han. Xiao Han's psychic energy fluctuated. He easily sensed that at this moment in the area where he lived, there were already tens of thousands of soldiers, driving ferocious beasts from all directions. They surrounded him so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. However, these soldiers didn't rush to capture Xiao Han immediately. Instead, they blocked the entrance one by one as if they were waiting for something. Chirp, chirp, chirp. In the sky, huge warhawks were circling. On the backs of some warhawks, sitting on them were sharp-eyed archers. Furthermore, there were even some true energy realm martial artists who had blocked the throat of some of the soldiers. The atmosphere became oppressive. They must be waiting for those immortals to come. Those immortals have received the information and are now going to interrogate me personally. Xiao Han was fully aware of the situation. On a lone peak outside the city lord's mansion, the mysterious cloaked immortal, Du Longzi, and 3 other immortals lived in a courtyard on this lone peak. At this moment, the city lord had already arrived on horseback. Everyone, I found some clues. The city lord dismounted from his horse and shouted. Tonight, as usual, we were searching for unfamiliar faces in the city, but we were met with resistance from a stranger. This stranger even directly injured a few city defense army soldiers. Oh! The expressions of Du Longzi and the other immortals immediately became tense. Good city lord, you are very responsible. Now, leave this matter to us, you don't have to worry about it. Du Longzi's voice was slightly trembling. If it's really the person we are looking for, then the reward that we promised you will not be reduced. Moreover, we will double the reward. Yes, thank you everyone, the city lord hurriedly said. After that, the city lord led his entourage away from the lone peak. A suspicious person has appeared. Let's go there immediately. Du Longzi's eyes flickered. Should we inform Brother Tsangtian about this first? The celestial in a cloak asked. No need, Du Longzi waved his hand. We will go there directly. It's just a suspicious person, we haven't been able to confirm it yet. If we hastily inform Brother Heaven's Son and find out that the suspicious person is not Xiao Han, then we will inevitably be punished by Brother Heaven's Son. Moreover, if it's really Xiao Han, we will capture him first and then bring him to Brother Heaven's Son to claim credit. I believe that Brother Heaven's Son will definitely reward us handsomely. That's the best. Alright, Du Longzi. You have always been smarter than others. We will listen to you. The cloaked immortal nodded. Du Longzi said to the other immortals. Do you guys want to follow us? If it's really Xiao Han, then we will also share some of the credit with you. The 3 immortals exchanged glances and then said in unison. Then we will go as well. We will hold the line for the 2 of you. Let's go now, Du Longzi gave the order. A total of 5 immortals turned into streams of light and directly flew toward Xiaohan's residence. In the room where Xiaohan was, Xiaohan scanned with his mental energy. Xiaohan also instantly caught a few waves of immortal consciousness that were approaching from afar. It was as if they were teleporting. There are a total of 5 waves of immortal consciousness. 2 of them contain deep killing intent, while the other 3 are faint and unremarkable. 5 immortals. Xiaohan observed while formulating a plan to deal with these immortals. One must know. The reason why Xiaohan deliberately stayed here was to wait for these immortals to arrive. Then to confront them head-on. Xiaohan had already made up his mind. He would no longer hide his head and show his tail. When necessary, he would also give these immortals who schemed to kill him some revenge. Of course, this did not mean that Xiaohan would fight these immortals recklessly. Instead, he would seize the opportunity to take a bite out of them. This time, it was obvious that Xiaohan had purposely revealed some flaws to attract these immortals to come to him. Then he would formulate a counterattack plan against them. Just as this thought flashed through Xiaohan's mind, the door opened on its own. 5 waves of immortal qi rushed in. Here they come. 5 immortals came at the same time. With Du Longzi as the leader, the 5 immortals were like ghosts. They flashed into Xiaohan's room. Xiaohan. As soon as he entered the room, Du Longzi's eyes were aggressive. He stared at Xiaohan like a wolf or a leopard. He bared his teeth. He shouted Xiaohan's name. At the same time, whoosh, 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 5 waves of immortal consciousness locked onto Xiaohan at the same time. Each wave of immortal consciousness was like a bone-scraping steel knife, scraping Xiaohan's body back and forth. These immortals had been looking for Xiaohan for more than a month, but to no avail. They had originally thought that it would be a piece of cake to find a mortal. However, when it came to searching for him, they had no idea where to start. This made them extremely sullen, and they became more and more agitated. Now that they had some clues, they were inexplicably excited. As for Xiaohan, he had deliberately distorted his soul wave. Moreover, he had used his true qi to distort his facial features. Coupled with his big beard, these immortals would not be able to recognize him even if they were face to face. Oh, Xiaohan? What Xiaohan? Xiaohan looked at Du Longzi and the others blankly. What are you talking about? Who are you? What? At this moment, Du Longzi and the other immortals used their immortal consciousness to scan and discovered that the bearded man in front of them was not Xiaohan at all. His soul wave and life aura did not match at all. Du Longzi is not Xiaohan at all. I've already scanned him with my immortal consciousness. Now that we're face to face and I'm using my immortal consciousness to analyze this person's soul wave frequency, it does not match the characteristics of Xiaohan's soul at all. We've got the wrong person. The immortal in the cloak transmitted his voice to Du Longzi with extreme disappointment. In fact, the moment Du Longzi came in, he knew that he had found the wrong person. He had been happy for nothing. Idiot. Du Longzi was flustered and exasperated. Why did you refuse to enter the city lord's mansion? However, at this moment, Du Longzi was no longer in the mood to understand who this bearded man was and why he had injured the city defense army of Flying Sky City. Suddenly, a cold and crazy murderous aura exploded from Du Longzi's body. Just this aura alone seemed to be able to devour Xiaohan. Puny mortal, I'll kill you. Du Longzi, don't be rash. The immortal in the cloak quickly advised. He's just an ant. If you want to vent your anger, you don't have to kill him. This time we've made a bet with Xiaohan. You're not allowed to kill mortals at will. Du Longzi, you'd better bear with it. Otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences if you ruin Brother Tsangtian's plans. Ant, be careful. Du Longzi indeed did not dare to kill indiscriminately in the mortal world. He glared at Xiaohan coldly and then led the immortals away. Soon, the soldiers surrounding the area and the war eagles in the sky retreated like the tide. Ha! Xiaohan smiled and then left the inn, riding his horse and galloping away. Soon he was out of Flying Sky City. At the same time, on the lone peak where Du Longzi and the other immortals were staying. That guy actually left Flying Sky City overnight. Du Longzi suddenly said. Huh. The immortal in the cloak was slightly stunned. I've been monitoring that ant with my immortal sense. The moment we left Flying Sky City, he immediately left overnight as well. There's something fishy going on. Du Longzi's eyes flickered. Suddenly escaping in the middle of the night. That doesn't make sense. Forget it, Du Longzi. He probably committed some other crime. After being interrogated by us, he felt guilty and was afraid of being exposed, so he fled overnight. The immortal in the cloak consoled. Anyway, that person isn't Xiaohan. Whether he stays or leaves has nothing to do with us. He's just an ant. No, I have to keep an eye on him. Du Longzi insisted. I have a feeling that things aren't that simple. Du Longzi, don't be rash. If you kill mortals recklessly, it might affect the bet between brother Tsangtian and Xiaohan. The immortal in the cloak scolded. I know what I'm doing. After saying that, Du Longzi's body moved and disappeared without a trace. Dang dang dang. Xiaohan galloped away on his horse. Suddenly Xiaohan's lips curled into a cold smile and said indifferently. You really followed us? Only one immortal followed us. Good, very good. Chapter 593. Xiaohan purposely pretended to have a guilty conscience and left Flying Sky City in the middle of the night. As expected, he attracted the attention of an immortal. Du Longzi. Drip, 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 drip. After leaving Flying Sky City, the horse crossed countless cities of different sizes and headed towards the border of the eastern domain. Xiaohan sat on the back of his horse, his mental energy fluctuating. He was paying attention to Du Longzi's movements at all times. Moreover, Xiaohan was full of confidence that he could kill Du Longzi. Only one immortal is chasing after me. This is really good news for me. Even the heavens are helping me. Xiaohan's heart was completely stirred up. It was as if he was rubbing his palms together. If there were several immortals chasing after him, Xiaohan would have to think twice and perhaps he would not make a move. However, Du Longzi single-handedly created an opportunity for Xiaohan. Moreover, Xiaohan did not feel the slightest bit of guilt for hunting down these rude and unreasonable immortals. On the contrary, Xiaohan believed that these unscrupulous immortals led by Heaven Emperor were a nest of snakes and rats that did whatever they wanted in the mortal world. Therefore they should be punished. However, Xiaohan was not in a hurry to make a move. This eastern domain was under the control of Heaven Emperor. If something went wrong, Xiaohan might be captured and killed by Heaven Emperor. Therefore, even if he wanted to kill Du Longzi, he would have to wait until he left the eastern domain. In the sky, a faint immortal aura swept past like a rainbow piercing through the sun. Du Longzi's body was wrapped in an immortal aura. His hands were behind his back and his eyes were filled with disdain and murderous intent. He actually escaped in the middle of the night. Judging from his escape route, it's very likely that he directly escaped from the eastern domain. How strange. Why do I keep feeling that there's a subtle connection between this guy and Xiaohan? Of course, it's very likely that my feeling is wrong. This guy's soul frequency is completely different from Xiaohan's. People can disguise their appearance, but their soul aura and aura are very difficult to disguise. But it's fine. I'll follow him for a while first. Then, when I reach a remote place, I'll directly capture him and force him to confess before killing him. After saying that, Du Longzi raised his head and looked at the distant horizon. Fear could be seen in the depths of his eyes as he muttered. With Big Brother Tsangtian guarding the eastern region, it's inconvenient for me to bully that mortal. Forget it, I'll follow this mortal and leave the eastern region first. That was all. Xiaohan rode his horse on land while Du Longzi followed him closely in the sky. One man and one immortal, each with their own ulterior motives. The competition began. Xiaohan traveled all the way until noon the next day. Finally, he settled down in a city in the eastern region to rest. Night. Xiaohan soaked in the wooden tub, holding a pot of fine wine in his hand, leisurely enjoying himself. In the courtyard, the shadows of flowers were scattered, and a faint fragrance floated in the air. The bright moon hung high in the night sky. The atmosphere was extremely wonderful. Sigh. This is so comfortable. Xiaohan stretched his body. I reckon that it won't be long before I can leave the eastern region and reach the bitter cold western region. Du Longzi is still biding his time. It seems that he also has some concerns and doesn't dare to make a move on me in the eastern region. That's fine, us brothers, let's just wait like this. Anyways, the bet with Tsangtianzi and the other immortals is delayed for a day, the possibility of them losing increases. Once we leave the eastern region, we'll plan to kill this immortal. Du Longzi, in an inn not far from where Xiaohan was staying, Du Longzi was drinking alone. His eyes were filled with a sinister look. Little ant, you actually stopped and didn't continue on your journey. Instead, you're enjoying yourself. Damn it. However, you can only enjoy yourself for this period of time. Once we leave the eastern region, regardless of whether you're related to Xiaohan or not, I'll kill you. That will make up for the time I spent tracking you. As a high and mighty immortal, Du Longzi had never spent so much time chasing after a mortal. At this moment, his heart was already restless and his patience was completely worn out. He wanted to capture Xiaohan immediately and torture him to death. However, in the Eastern Domain he didn't dare to make a move. He was afraid that if the Heaven Emperor found out, he would be punished directly. Du Longzi endured and endured. The killing intent in his heart toward Xiaohan had been brewed to the limit. Xiaohan was not in a hurry. After resting for 3 days and 3 nights, Xiaohan finally set off again. He wanted to leave the eastern region and head towards the western region. After changing to a faster horse, Xiaohan once again set off on his journey. Du Longzi angrily followed behind him. These few days Xiaohan was leisurely and carefree, but Du Longzi was extremely bored. In fact, Sang Tianzi even sent a message to Du Longzi and reprimanded him, telling him to quickly give up on tracking an insignificant mortal and seize the time to search for Xiaohan's whereabouts. However, the arrow was already knocked. Du Longzi had been following Xiaohan for so many days. If he suddenly gave up, it would feel like all his previous efforts were wasted. Damn it! This guy, hurry up and leave the eastern region. Du Longzi's killing intent was overflowing. Another half a month passed, and Xiaohan finally left the eastern territory. He had officially arrived at the western region. The western region was filled with sand and wind. This was a small town that was adjacent to the eastern region. The sand and stone walls in the town had been corroded by the wind and frost over the years. There were probably a few thousand people in the town. All of them were wrapped in thick linen clothes and their faces were covered. Some children squatted at the corner of the wall and looked around with their black eyes. Clatter, 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 Xiaohan led the horse and walked slowly in the town. His mental strength spread out. Outside the town, there was a vast expanse of yellow sand within a radius of a few thousand miles. There was no sign of human habitation. As for Du Longzi, he had already quietly followed Xiaohan into the small town. Xiaohan could feel that the killing intent in Du Longzi's immortal sense was getting stronger and stronger. It was getting more and more obvious. Obviously, Du Longzi was ready to make a move at any time. Moreover, Xiaohan was also keenly aware that once he left the eastern region, the immortal sense of Emperor Heaven would disappear without a trace and no longer cover. Instead, there were dozens of other immortal sense waves that spread out in the sky above the western region. Among the immortals who were enemies with Xiaohan, the one he was most afraid of was Emperor Heaven. The other immortals. Xiaohan was not afraid at all. Xiaohan took a few sesame seed cakes from the skinny hands of an old woman in a stall and left some gold and silver for her. Then he slowly walked towards the desert outside the town. While walking, Xiaohan was also adjusting the state of his immortal body. He gathered his strength and prepared to fight. Xiaohan knew. Once he entered the desert, Du Longzi would descend from the sky and capture him. This Du Longzi has been following me for so many days and his killing intent has been aroused. Once he confronts me, he will definitely kill me. However, I have been waiting for so many days to kill this guy. Gradually, Xiaohan's heart was also brewing with some killing intent. The small flame of the killing intent was in the depths of Xiaohan's heart. The more it burned, the more vigorous it became. When he was about to walk out of the town, Xiaohan had already adjusted his combat state to the best. His immortal body was extremely condensed. The natal true chi talisman absorbed all the true chi in his body and was ready to be activated. The demon emperor's palm on his left arm. It was faintly throbbing. Hey Aunt, you can't escape from my palm in the end. You made me painstakingly follow you for so many days. Let me think about how to humiliate and torture you later. Du Longzi was like a ghost, following behind Xiaohan. He used an immortal technique and his body was almost invisible, so that the troubled citizens in the town could not detect his existence. Moreover, Du Longzi also thought that Xiaohan could not detect him. Why did you chase me here? I don't even know you. Xiaohan said with righteous indignation. Ha ha ha. Du Longzi let out a hearty laugh. Mortal, the expression on your face is really interesting. Is this the collapse before death? Ah. The laughter was as if Du Longzi had vented out all the grievances he had suffered in the past few days. It was extremely comfortable. What are you trying to do? Xiaohan asked in a terrified manner. I want to kill you. Du Longzi kept on laughing. I have no enmity with you. We don't know each other. You want to kill me? Why do you want to kill me? Xiaohan roared. Do I need a reason to kill you? Du Longzi said indifferently. Chapter 594. Do I need a reason to kill you? When Du Longzi said this sentence, it was completely understated, as if he regarded human life as grass and it was natural. Xiao Han became more and more furious in his heart, but on the surface he still looked like a yes-man, trembling as he spoke. You are too overbearing. Are you a demon hero from the demon hero region? Below the immortals are the demon heroes, below the demon heroes are all living beings. Even if you are a demon hero, you can't treat human life like grass. Ha ha ha. Du Longzi looked up to the sky and laughed loudly as if he had heard the world's biggest joke. Immortals? Demon hero? Ah. Communicating with a lowly ant like you is like talking to a chicken talking to a duck. Forget it. Before I die, I will ask you one last time. Are you related to that Xiao Han? Xiao Han? The leader of our realm. How dare you? How dare you call him by his name? Xiao Han pretended to be angry. You are a hooligan. I'm thinking too much. Du Longzi suddenly burst out murderous aura, his gaze pierced through the void, and his right hand grabbed toward Xiao Han. At the same time, in the void of the western region, a few immortals sat cross-legged on a cloud. These immortals had faint tiredness on their faces. We've been searching the western region for more than a month. We've been using our immortal perception to cover the vast territory of the western region at all times. We've scanned almost all the natives of the western region, especially the people who come and go. However, we still haven't found any trace of Xiao Han. Could it be that we're going to lose the bet to a mortal this time? This is a great humiliation. An immortal looked indignant. Once we lose this bet, we will lose the qualification to enter the second level of the Great Blade Immortal Emperor's treasure. So, if we return to the immortal realm like this, we will be severely punished. Forget it, let's not talk about this bet first. There are still a few months before the end of the bet, we still have a high chance of finding Xiao Han. It's too early to admit defeat now. It's too early, said another immortal. However, he managed to squeeze out a smile. Look at that guy Du Longzi. Isn't he guarding the eastern region with big brother Zhang Tianzi, searching for Xiao Han's whereabouts in the eastern region? But now they were thousands of miles away, coming to the western region. What is Du Longzi trying to do? The immortals scanned with their immortal senses at the same time. Then they all shook their heads and laughed. Ha ha, so you were chasing after a mortal. From the eastern domain to the western domain. This guy is really ridiculous. However, Du Longzi is too bold to do this. Back then, when he made a bet with Han Xiao, we all agreed to it. During this half a year, he could not casually kill mortals, and Du Longzi's actions were breaking the rules of the bet. If Zhao Lanzi knows about this, it will be troublesome. Why don't we stop Du Longzi? I don't think it's necessary. It's just killing an insignificant mortal in this barren desert. What's there to stop? It's not a large-scale massacre of mortals. Let Du Longzi kill him. As long as he is clean, he can directly kill that mortal, and Zhao Lanzi won't be able to find anything. Haha, it's too late to stop now. Du Longzi is about to make his move. That mortal will die in a blink of an eye. Ant, I'll crush you to death. Du Longzi directly grabbed Xiao Han with his right hand. With this grab, the immortal qi in the space crystal wall were torn apart like a thin piece of paper. The solid spiritual star in Xiao Han's sea of consciousness was highly condensed and contracted, causing Du Longzi's attack to become extremely slow in Xiao Han's eyes. Xiao Han only saw that this casual grab was blooming with dense immortal words. Countless immortal words were arranged, forming a killing technique. The arrangement of these immortal words was very mysterious, far from what a mortal's true qi martial Tao could compare to. However, although this grab was very fierce and overbearing, Xiao Han's spiritual power was too strong, and he could completely predict the trajectory of this attack. If he wanted to dodge, Xiao Han could definitely dodge this attack. However, Xiao Han had no intention of dodging at all. Instead, his face was filled with fear, and he pretended to be helpless and unable to dodge. For this attack, Du Longzi did not activate any magical treasure, nor did he use any immortal technique. He just casually grabbed. That's right, he thinks that I'm just an insignificant mortal, so to kill me he just needs to move slightly. There is no need for him to use any technique. I have a dual attribute special immortal body, and my physical attack and defense are both at level 4 ordinary immortal body. This attack on my body is like a tickle. Xiao Han's body subconsciously moved forward. Ha! Mortal, this grab will cut open your stomach and dig out your heart. Du Longzi looked as if he had completely defeated Xiao Han, and his face was full of arrogance. He was very confident that in the mortal world, no mortal would be able to dodge this attack. Any mortal would be reduced to ashes under this attack. In the blink of an eye. Pooh! This attack directly grabbed Xiaohan's chest. Die. However, just as the attack succeeded, Du Longzi realized that something was wrong. He felt that what he grabbed was not a mortal's body, but a starry sky, a world and an abyss. The immortal power that this grab carried was like a clay ox entering the sea without any trace. In an instant Du Longzi was shocked to the core. His eyes popped out and he stared at Xiaohan as if he had seen a ghost. You are, shockingly. Bang! Xiaohan did not wait for Du Longzi to finish speaking. While Du Longzi was completely shocked, Xiaohan's right fist contained the violent power of the immortal body and directly smashed into Du Longzi's face. Puchi! Du Longzi's entire face was completely caved in, his teeth burst, his straight nose was smashed into a pile of mud, and his two eyeballs directly popped out. Bang! 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 Xiaohan did not say a word and punched 3 times in a row. Each punch hit the flesh and all hit Du Longzi's body. 3 loud noises. It was earth-shattering. A large piece of desert was hit until the yellow sand was swept up, covering the sky and the sun. Under the pure power of Xiaohan's close to 40 immortal dragons, Du Longzi's immortal body. It exploded like a broken tile. 1 punch and it exploded. The immortal body fragments filled the sky. It was indescribably beautiful and gorgeous. At the critical moment, Xiaohan's spirit power wrapped around all the immortal body fragments. They were all kept in the storage ring. Then his mind flashed and his left arm flashed with a demonic light. With a movement like an illusion he directly flew out. He teleported who knows how many tens of thousands of miles. All of this happened too suddenly. From the beginning of Du Longzi's attack on Xiaohan, Xiaohan did not dodge. Instead he took the blow head-on, causing Du Longzi to completely lower his guard, thinking that Xiaohan would definitely die. But in the blink of an eye there was a sudden change. Not only did Xiaohan not die, but he also punched a few times. After blowing up Du Longzi, he made a prompt decision to activate a wisp of demonic aura and directly escaped. These few times Xiaohan had planned and then acted. All of his actions were done in one breath like a rabbit jumping up and down. It was simply impossible to guard against. Above the clouds above the western region, a group of immortals was still laughing and chatting. Du Longzi's breadth of mind is really, no matter what, he is an outstanding figure among the younger generation of our immortal world. Now, in order to chase a mortal, he actually moved from the eastern region to the western region. Moreover, he really did make a move on this mortal. An immortal shook his head and laughed. Is it very interesting to step on an ant? Ah. Ga. Suddenly, this immortal's laughter came to an abrupt stop. At the same time, the other immortals' mouths opened wide and their eyes bulged, as if they had seen a ghost. The next moment, what? Du Longzi was counter-killed. Du Longzi was actually killed by that mortal. Du Longzi's life force suddenly disappeared. Dead. He was directly blown up. Not even his bones are left. Roar? Definitely not an ordinary mortal. Catch him. We must catch him. Suddenly, these immortals grabbed out huge hands that covered the sky and grabbed towards Xiaohan's location. However, Xiaohan had already escaped without a trace. These immortals completely did not expect that things would end like this. They thought that Du Longzi killing a mortal would be a piece of cake, so their attention was not placed on Du Longzi and Xiaohan. Then when Du Longzi was killed they were temporarily shocked and their minds went blank. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Xiaohan had already flown far away. Immediately report to Big Brother Tsang Tianzi. These immortals all roared. I have recorded that mortal's soul aura. Now I will transmit his soul aura fluctuation frequency to the other immortals, and let them directly kill this person. No, catch him alive. A white-robed immortal hurriedly said, and then his body turned into a ray of sword energy and shot towards the eastern region. I will go find Big Brother Tsang Tianzi now. This matter is very important. Everyone split up and chase that guy. Eastern region. Haichang Empire's airspace. On the leisurely floating clouds. Son of Heaven sat cross-legged on the clouds. In front of him was a tea table, and 2 beautiful female immortals were eagerly making tea for Son of Heaven. That idiot Du Longzi actually left for such a long time just to chase an ant. This person will have no future in the future, Son of Heaven said indifferently. Then he took a cup of tea from a female immortal and carefully sipped the tea. At this moment, Big Brother Tsang Tianzi, the white-robed immortal, dared to come from the western region, and his face was full of fear. Big Brother Tsang Tianzi, this is not good. Baiyunzi? Aren't you in charge of guarding the western region? Why did you come to the eastern region? Son of Heaven said with slight dissatisfaction. Big Brother Tsang Tianzi, dead. Dulongzi is dead. Baiyunzi said with a long face. He was directly killed by a mortal. Dulongzi is dead. What? Son of Heaven suddenly stood up. Pooh! Son of Heaven crushed the teacup in his hand. Chapter 595. Swoosh! A faint demonic light flashed across the sky. Xiaohan's movements were illusory, and he had already reached perfection. This illusory movement was originally the natal demonic technique of an ordinary demon emperor. Xiaohan had obtained it, and it was Xiaohan's first life-saving secret skill. Watermark advertisement test. Since the watermark advertisement test, Xiaohan's left demon emperor palm had evolved to a terrifying level, surpassing any mortal demon emperor level creature. Therefore, when Xiaohan used this illusory demonic technique, it was no longer the same as before. In an instant, Xiaohan teleported from the west region to the north region. North region. A world of ice and snow. The demonic light passed through the endless frost and landed directly in a city in the north region. In the city there was no ice and snow. Some experts in the true energy realm used their true energy to create a warm light, bathing the entire city in a golden color, like heaven on earth. The city was also prosperous and people were shuttling back and forth. Boom! Xiaohan landed on a beautiful green mountain in the city. After landing, the first thing that Xiaohan did was, he changed the frequency of his soul waves. Buzz, 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 the solid spiritual power star wriggled and twisted a few times, changing the frequency of his soul waves again. Before this, after the distortion of Xiaohan's soul waves, Xiaohan's temperament was extremely rough and vulgar, making him seem like a fiendish boorish man. At this moment, Xiaohan's soul temperament became extremely gentle and elegant. He was gentle and had the temperament of a scholarly family. Ha ha ha! Xiaohan laughed loudly. His true energy burned, and the beard on his face completely melted. Completely melted. It revealed a fair, young and handsome face. Then he twisted his facial muscles. As a result, his appearance was slightly different from his original appearance. Moreover, then he activated his true energy and the color of his skin became even fairer. With a shake of his body, Xiaohan transformed from a boorish man into a well-educated and well-mannered scholar. Just as Xiaohan finished his disguise in the sky, several sharp immortal senses swept down. It swept down and swept past the area where Xiaohan was. However, when these immortal senses swept across Xiaohan's body, he didn't stop at all. Clearly he didn't discover anything. Fortunately I changed my appearance in time. These immortals are also very fast. They've gone from the western region to the northern region in such a short time. Xiaohan stretched himself lazily and then swaggered down the mountain, heading towards the most prosperous area of the city. As he walked, Xiaohan's mind kept flashing. Awesome. Felt so good. Yet another immortal was killed. 3 punches and 2 kicks and he was smashed into pieces. Back then, when he defeated the Divine Sword Sun, he was an immortal whose rank had already fallen. He was like a stray dog and was nothing special. However, Du Longzi was an immortal in his prime. Just a moment ago he was acting all high and mighty and the next moment he was smashed into pieces by me. Of course I caught him off guard, but no matter what method I used I still completed the immortal slaying. Heaven's Son, you've been searching for my whereabouts all over the world. I want you to go for wool and come home shorn. Du Longzi is only the first. Next, there will be more immortals from Heaven's Son's camp falling in my hands. I want all of you to be in a state of panic. I want all of you to collapse. Soon Xiaohan arrived at the crowded main city area. He randomly found a restaurant and tasted the unique delicacies of the northern region. While eating and drinking, Xiaohan was also appreciating the beauties of the northern region who passed by on the street. Their exotic charm was a feast for Xiaohan. Eastern region. The airspace of Haichang Empire. At this moment, other than Heaven's Son and the white-robed immortal Baiyunzi who came to report the news, more than 10 immortals had gathered. With Heaven's Son as the leader, these immortals' faces were extremely distorted and ferocious. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. What did you say? Du Longzi was killed by a mortal? Suddenly Heaven's Son burst into a furious roar. Suddenly he grabbed Bai Yunzi across the air and grabbed him by the neck as if he was grabbing a little chick. Ha 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 ha. Bai Yunzi's throat emitted a strange sound. The expression on his face was extremely frightened as he choked and struggled to speak. Big Heaven's Son. Big brother Heaven's Son. It's none of my business. Indeed, Du Longzi was killed by a mortal. Big brother Heaven's Son, please calm down. The immortals at the side exclaimed. They were afraid that Heaven's Son would kill Bai Yunzi in a fit of rage. Du Longzi was killed in the western region. You guys guarding the western regions actually watched Du Longzi get killed in front of your eyes. All of you are trash. Heaven's Son roared furiously. However, he also let go of Bai Yunzi and threw him to the side. Big brother Heaven's Son. That mortal looked ordinary. At that time, we all thought that Du Longzi would be able to kill him easily. But we didn't expect that there would be such a huge change in the blink of an eye. That guy took on Du Longzi's attack head-on and instantly killed Du Longzi. His speed was so fast that even Du Longzi couldn't react in time. Clearly that guy had deliberately planned to kill Du Longzi. Everything had been carefully calculated. Bai Yunzi screamed in fear. Fear also appeared in his eyes. This fear was not towards Heaven's Son, but towards the method that Xiao Han used to kill Du Longzi. That guy must have prepared beforehand to take on Du Longzi's attack. Then, when Du Longzi thought that he was dead, he suddenly attacked and killed Du Longzi in one fell swoop. This method caught us immortals who guard the western region off guard. At this moment, the immortal wearing a cloak who followed Du Longzi to search for Xiao Han quickly said, Big brother Heaven's Son, I've seen the mortal who killed Du Longzi before and used my celestial sense to check on him. He's just an ordinary guy. I didn't expect that he would purposely reveal a flaw so that Du Longzi would track him down. After leaving the eastern region, he suddenly attacked, killing Du Longzi while he was unprepared. This person's thoughts were extremely cautious. Plus, he should have known that Du Longzi was an immortal beforehand. He even dared to kill an immortal. Then his identity. It's Xiao Han. It must be Xiao Han. Heaven's Son said furiously. Hiding his identity, purposely revealing a flaw to find a chance to kill an immortal. What a good method. Xiao Han. I've always underestimated you. You're amazing. At this moment Heaven's Son's body trembled due to anger. His eyes were spewing out indescribable killing intent and hatred. Killing Du Longzi. Is he trying to show off his power? How dare a puny mortal kill us immortals? This is a provocation. Big brother Heaven's Son. We have to capture that bastard at all costs. The immortals barked. Big brother Heaven's Son, the immortals guarding the western region have recorded the frequency of Xiao Han's soul fluctuation and passed it to the immortals guarding the other regions. We've already started to capture him. Bai Yunzi immediately shouted. Mobilize all the immortals that have descended. Let's find Xiao Han together. Heaven's Son roared. Xiao Han. I'll definitely tear you into pieces. As soon as his voice fell, boom, 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 above the airspace of the Haichang Empire, thunder and lightning suddenly roared, and then a heavy rain poured down. In the next few months this heavy rain would not stop. Haichang Empire would suffer an unprecedented flood. When an immortal was angry the weather would change drastically. **** mountain range. **** temple. Jialanzi, who was sitting and chatting with Wu Li and the others, suddenly trembled. His tranquil and carefree face, that of an otherworldly expert, immediately twisted. His eyes were filled with horror. Wu Li and the others had never seen Jialanzi, who was as steady as a mountain, lose his composure. They were extremely frightened. Brother Jialanzi, what happened? Could it be that something happened to Xiao Han? He was captured by Heaven's Son and the other evil immortals? Wu Li also stood up with a face full of speculation and uneasiness. No, it's Brother Xiao who has begun to fight back. Jialanzi said as if he was intoxicated. Brother Xiao is fighting back. He killed an immortal in the western region. Instantly killed. This method is too fierce. Decisive in killing. What? Xiao Han killed an immortal? Wu Li, Xiao Mingqiu, Dongfang Qin, and Fang Ling cried out in unison. Under the dangerous situation of being coveted by a group of immortals, he still dared to show up and launch a peerless counterattack. Brother Zhao's actions have convinced me, deeply convinced. This method can be called heaven-defying. The expression on Jialanzi's face was completely convinced. However, Xiao Han killed an immortal and is in an extremely dangerous situation. Will he be captured by Heaven's Son and the others because of this? Wu Li immediately said. It's very strange. After Brother Xiao killed an immortal, he seemed to have used a demonic technique and directly teleported away. Now I have lost contact with Brother Xiao again. It seems that Brother Xiao's soul temperament has changed again. Jiao Lanzi said. Yes. Xiao Mingchu slapped his thigh. Junior Brother Xiao Han is best at a few demonic techniques to save his life. Among them, there is a demonic technique that can travel thousands of miles in an instant. It is called illusory movement. It seems that the one who killed the immortal is indeed Junior Brother Xiao Han. Northern Region. Night. Xiao Han sat cross-legged on the bed of a suite in the inn. Boom, boom, boom. The fragments of Du Longzi's immortal body had already been thrown by Xiao Han into the palm of the demon sovereign left arm and frantically refined. The spirit turtle True Qi sealed the left arm, causing the momentum of refining the immortal body to be perfectly concealed. Even if those immortals used their immortal sense to scan through the air, they would not be able to find any flaws. Unless there was an immortal in direct contact with Xiao Han, they would not be able to see the energy fluctuation of Xiao Han's left arm. As the immortal body was completely refined and absorbed, the demon veins in the palm of the demon sovereign left arm once again frantically awakened and expanded the capacity of the demon veins. Evolution, evolution, and evolution. However, Xiao Han's state of mind was as calm as still water. He knew that Heaven's Son and the other immortals were now speeding up their search for him. However, he was unfazed and only cared about refining Du Longzi's immortal body. Chapter 596. At this moment, countless immortal body fragments were floating inside Xiao Han's palm. These immortal body fragments were constantly being absorbed by the demon sovereign left arm demon sovereign's palm. The energy of the immortal body was extremely nourishing. The demonic monarch palm on his left arm absorbed just a little bit of it, and the demonic meridians would awaken. Moreover, the capacity of the demonic meridians would continue to expand. Inside the demon Thearka's palm, the space crystal wall became more and more stable, forming a world of its own. It became a demonic realm filled with demonic aura. Many ancient demonic characters were born and floating. The demon race's civilization was flourishing. It exuded a bloodthirsty and dark aura. Furthermore, the left arm of the monarch demon beast seemed to be resonating and communicating with the soul of the demon god in his heart. In a daze, Xiao Han seemed to hear the evil voice of the demon god reverberating in his ears. This is really interesting. To think that an immortal's corpse could be used to nourish and evolve a demon god's palm in the mortal world. This is something that has never happened before. Even I have never heard of such a thing. Interesting. This is really interesting. That's right. Since the birth of this world, there had never been a case where someone in the mortal world obtained a fortuitous encounter of the demon race and then used the corpse of an immortal to nourish this fortuitous encounter of the demon race. This kind of thing was absolutely impossible to happen, but it just so happened that it happened to Xiao Han. This was a miracle created by the combination of many rare opportunities. Firstly, Xiao Han had obtained a fortuitous encounter in the demon race, a demon Thearka's palm. Secondly, Xiao Han had even become a parasite of the demon god's egg. Thirdly, the demonic god used its supreme will to better inhabit Xiao Han's body. This caused Xiao Han's left arm to become a demonic monarch palm. If it wasn't for the demon god's will evolving Xiao Han's left demon monarch palm, Xiao Han would have died. It was impossible for him to refine the corpse of an immortal. Fourth, a large number of immortals had descended upon Xiao Han's plane. This was something that could only be chanced upon. The demon god's will quickly dissipated without a trace. However, Xiao Han could sense that the demon god was very interested in the evolution of his left demon monarch palm. Humph! Demon god, I will kill you sooner or later. Xiao Han snorted. He muttered in his heart. He filtered out the demon god's will and focused on refining Du Longzi's immortal body fragment. Just like that, Xiao Han sat quietly in the room like a stone statue. Xiao Han had already warned the people in the inn not to disturb him. He also gave a lot of money to appease the people in the inn. The people of the inn had already received some benefits, so they didn't bother him. That was all. Xiao Han meditated for 7 days and 7 nights to refine Du Longzi's immortal physique. In the meantime, Xiao Han took out the rings of holding from Master Divine Sword and Master Du Longzi, and bound them with blood. Inside he discovered that there were some immortal items and magical items. However, Xiaohan had only achieved immortal ascension with his fleshly body, and his true energy was far from being able to evolve into immortal qi. Therefore, even if Xiaohan could just barely use these magical items, he wouldn't be able to unleash much of their power. Therefore, defeating the Divine Sword Sun and Du Longzi and taking their treasures was not of much use to Xiaohan. As Du Longzi's immortal physique was refined, Xiaohan's left monarch beast palm underwent some changes. The demonic veins no longer awakened in the left monarch beast palm. Instead, the densely packed demonic veins began to merge. Billions of demonic veins began to merge as if they were going to merge into one. Is this the sign of the monarch beast palm evolving again? Xiaohan was extremely confused. Puff, puff, puff. The densely packed demonic veins merged and twisted into a ball. An even more powerful demonic power was produced in Xiaohan's left monarch beast palm. This power didn't seem to be any weaker than immortal power. This power was almost enough to destroy heaven and earth. Jia Lanzi patiently explained the power system of immortals to Xiaohan, but Xiaohan had no idea what the left monarch beast palm was going to evolve into. Another 3 days passed. Du Longzi's immortal physique fragment had been completely refined. Not a single drop was left. However, the merging of the demonic veins was not complete. It had to absorb a large amount of energy before it could continue. Moreover, ordinary energy was probably not enough to satisfy the growth and evolution of Xiaohan's monarch beast palm. The merging of the demonic veins seems to be only halfway done. Xiaohan felt an itch in his heart. What a pity. If I had another immortal corpse, the monarch beast palm would probably be able to complete this evolution and merge all the demonic veins into one. Now, a huge puzzle was placed in front of Xiaohan, and he had to solve it bit by bit. However, this puzzle was only half solved. Xiaohan still couldn't completely know the answer. This kind of situation was the most tempting. Naturally, Xiaohan was eager to get an answer immediately. However, the energy had already been used up. The last layer of veil couldn't be lifted in the end. Now Xiaohan couldn't wait to attack again and kill an immortal, to obtain the energy to nourish the left monarch beast palm. However, Xiaohan was not a reckless person. After he released his spiritual force, he discovered that at this moment, there were at least dozens of immortal senses hovering in the sky of the northern region. Moreover, on the ground of the northern region, in many empires and cities, there were hundreds of hidden immortal senses. In other words, there were nearly 200 immortals who had entered the northern region. What made Xiaohan even more afraid was that the immortal senses of Heaven Emperor had also appeared in the northern region. Now, the entire northern region has been surrounded by nearly 200 immortals. Heaven Emperor and the others are indeed clever. They know that I have fled to the northern region. Xiaohan was well aware of the situation. The current situation is extremely dangerous. If I give myself away even a little, I might be caught by Heaven Emperor. There are nearly 200 immortals and Heaven Emperor himself. As long as I am discovered, it will be very difficult for me to escape. Fortunately, the northern region's territory is also extremely vast. As long as I maintain the status quo, Heaven Sun and the other immortals don't think about catching me. Forget it. I won't act rashly for the time being. When Heaven Emperor and the others are slightly careless, I will find a chance to leave the northern region. Now, I might as well think of a way to continue evolving the left monarch beast palm. Energy. I need energy that doesn't lose to the immortal's corpse to nourish the left monarch beast palm. Xiaohan scratched his ears and cheeks. However, I have nothing on me. I'm just a mortal. I can't take out any treasures that are comparable to the immortal's corpse. Wait. Immortal tools and magic treasures. The immortal tools and magic treasures that I plundered from Divine Sword Sun and Du Longzi. Xiaohan's eyes suddenly lit up. In the next moment, Xiaohan released the spirit turtle True Qi and sealed the entire room. Then he carefully took out a treasure sword. In the next moment, Xiaohan released the spirit turtle True Qi and sealed the entire room. This treasured sword was created after the Divine Sword Sun was destroyed. It was obtained from Divine Sword Sun's storage ring. The treasure sword was as bright as autumn water. The body of the sword was engraved with many immortal runes and formations. Moreover, there were some red veins on the surface of the treasure sword, just like the blood vessels of a human body. This is an immortal sword. It should be the ultimate weapon used by Divine Sword Sun. It's extremely precious. However, it's useless to me. I might as well give it a try and see if my left monarch beast palm can devour this treasure sword. If I can really devour and refine this treasure sword, the nourishment that my left monarch beast palm will receive might not be inferior to an immortal's corpse. Xiaohan licked his lips. Then he thought of something. Buff, 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 buff. Countless ferocious, salty and wriggling tentacles came out from Xiaohan's left arm and wrapped around the treasure sword. Refine it for me. Suddenly, the tentacles secreted some liquid and poured it onto the immortal sword. Buff, 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 buff. In an instant, the immortal runes and formations engraved on the immortal sword seemed to be corroded by the evil demonic chi and began to crumble. In the next moment, something strange happened. Buzz! The countless tentacles swayed and then suddenly retracted. Xiaohan's left arm returned to normal. However, the immortal sword was forcefully pulled into Xiaohan's left monarch beast palm. Ha! Xiaohan was stunned for a moment. Then his mind sank into the monarch beast palm. He saw that the immortal sword had already been disintegrated. It turned into densely packed raw materials and immortal chi that were being absorbed and refined by the monarch beast palm. The demonic vein that could not be completely integrated just now was now being integrated again. Ah! It really works. Not only can my monarch beast palm devour and refine the immortal's corpse, but it can also devour and refine immortal weapons and magical treasures. Ah! This is awesome. Xiaohan was wild with joy. I've plundered quite a lot of treasures from Divine Sword Sun and Du Longzi. Let's refine them all. Feed the monarch beast palm. In the sky above the northern region, Emperor Heaven had already moved from the eastern region to the northern region. Beside Emperor Heaven stood many ferocious-looking immortals. Big Brother Emperor Heaven, Bai Yunzi has sent us the fake soul fluctuation frequency. Moreover, we can confirm that Xiaohan has crossed the western region and escaped to the northern region. However, we've been searching for more than 10 days in the northern region, but we couldn't find the fake soul fluctuation frequency at all. Could it be that he has escaped to another place? A female immortal in pink clothes said with a frown. Emperor Heaven's face was gloomy and his eyes were malicious. Xiaohan is still in the northern region? He used a demonic art and teleported to the northern region. The demonic chi that the demonic art emitted eventually landed in the northern region. After that, our people used their immortal senses to search for him, but they did not find any trace of Xiaohan's fake soul aura. Now, I finally know. Xiaohan's spiritual force is extremely powerful. He can change the frequency of his soul aura and his temperament at will. In this way it will be very difficult for us to catch him, changing the soul fluctuation frequency? Big Brother Emperor Heaven, what should we do? It doesn't matter. As long as he's still in the northern region, we'll definitely be able to find him. Emperor Heaven's eyes flashed with violent killing intent and gloominess. Seal the northern region completely. Use immortal force to seal the spatial crystal wall of the northern region so that Xiaohan can't use his demonic technique to teleport away. Then search step by step. This time, there are hundreds of immortals who have come to the northern region to help us search for Xiaohan's whereabouts. If we can prevent Xiaohan from teleporting, we can catch him like a turtle in a jar. To be continued. Chapter 597. At this moment, a large number of immortals had gathered in the northern region. Among them were the immortals who were extremely hostile to Xiaohan, led by Heaven Emperor Chang. There were also quite a number of other immortals. They were either invited by Heaven Emperor Chang to capture Xiaohan, or they were just here to watch the show. In short, the news of Xiaohan killing Du Longzi had caused a huge sensation in the circle of immortals who had descended to this realm. These immortals had never thought that a mortal could kill an immortal. This was unheard of in the history of the immortal world. Therefore, almost all the immortals who had descended to this realm wanted to find Xiaohan and take a closer look at this mortal who had killed an immortal. Under the personal command of Emperor Chang, hundreds of immortals released their immortal senses and solidified the space crystal wall of the northern region. No one, not even immortals, could teleport within the northern region. In the northern region, the most prosperous and powerful empire, the Aurora Empire. In the huge square outside the palace of the Aurora Empire's imperial city. At this moment, the square was densely packed with mortals. Each of them had a strange expression on their faces as they discussed animatedly. From today onwards, no one is allowed to enter or leave the northern region. No one, including the devil heroes of the Devil Hero domain, is allowed to set foot in the northern region. Moreover, no one in the northern region is allowed to leave. TSK, the power of those mysterious people is too great. They actually sealed the entire northern region. It's almost like they can cover the sky with one hand. Let me tell you, it said that some immortals have descended to our realm. What? Immortals? Is this news reliable? Nonsense. This news came from the mouths of some of the top figures on the Devil Hero ranking. Hiss. Could it be that those mysterious people are immortals? Forget it. Let's not make wild guesses. Since the Emperor of the Aurora Empire has gathered us and issued an order, then let's do as he says. Otherwise, I'm afraid there will be a disaster. The people gathered in the square were all people of great status in the Northern Domain. Every single one of them was the emperor of a country in the Northern Domain, the clan leader of a clan, or the chieftain of a tribe. They had all submitted to the strongest empire in the northern region, the Aurora Empire. This time they were summoned by the Emperor of the Aurora Empire. He came here to receive an order. On one of the steps at the top of the square, Heaven Emperor led a few immortals and stood majestically beside him like a crane among chickens. A middle-aged man with a crown on his head stood submissively. This middle-aged man was also an upper-level true Qi realm martial artist with an extraordinary temperament. However, in front of immortals like Heaven Emperor, he seemed extremely insignificant. This middle-aged man wearing a crown was the Emperor of the Aurora Empire. Jianghu Hen. Mister, I've already announced your request to all the emperors and clan leaders of the empires in the Northern Domain. From today onwards, in the countries of the Northern region, all the cities began to be sealed off. No one was allowed to enter or leave. Moreover, at the local level, I'll also sort out the census population and foreign population and report to you at any time, Xing Wuhen said respectfully. Mister, although it's a large-scale census, this is the first time that the entire Northern Domain's population is checked like this. It's extremely complicated, but I believe that as long as the kings and leaders of the various clans in the Northern Domain do their best, it should be able to be carried out smoothly. Emperor Xing Wuhen, I'm very satisfied with your performance. Heaven Emperor nodded. Tomorrow, I'll order people to help you break the shackles of fate so that your true Qi cultivation can reach the level of a Tower Master. You'll become a half-immortal and live a long life in the secular world. Yes. Thank you, mister. Thank you, mister. Xing Wuhen screamed in excitement. The emperor of a country had completely lost his composure. Yes, in order to find Xiaohan who was hiding in the Northern Domain, Heaven Emperor had mobilized the leaders of the entire Northern Domain. Every inch of land in the Northern Domain was inspected. From then on, no one was allowed to enter or leave the Northern Domain. As a result, everyone who was currently in the Northern Domain had to undergo strict screening. Of course, the human leaders of the various countries in the Northern Domain didn't know much about the arrival of the Immortals and the exploration of the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure a few years later. Naturally, they didn't know about the bet between Xiaohan and Heaven Emperor. Therefore, Heaven Emperor mobilized the natives of the Northern Domain to conduct a carpet search. They also didn't know who they were looking for. If they knew that Heaven Emperor was dealing with the leader of their plane, Xiaohan, at least half of the natives in the Northern Domain would not agree to help with the search. Instead, it might arouse public anger and fight against Heaven Emperor and the other immortals. Naturally, Heaven Emperor also promised a great reward to the natives of the Northern Domain. The reward of an immortal naturally had a fatal charm for these mortals. In addition to mobilizing the mortals to search for Xiaohan, Heaven Emperor also mobilized a large number of immortals to travel through the various countries in the Northern Domain to conduct a strict search. Whoosh, 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 Heaven Emperor left an immortal beside the Emperor of the Aurora Empire and then led the other immortals to soar into the sky. The sky was filled with clouds and rosy clouds. It was a spectacular sight. In the sky. Big Brother Heaven Emperor, it's also very tricky now. That Xiaohan has a powerful spiritual force comparable to us immortals. He can change the frequency of his soul fluctuation and disguise various soul temperaments. It's too difficult to find him like this. Although we've mobilized all the leaders of the Northern Domain to investigate together, the territory of the Northern Domain is vast and the population is in the trillions. I don't know how long it will take to find Xiaohan. One of the immortals frowned and said worriedly. Moreover, the most frustrating thing is that even if we find a clue, Xiaohan can change his soul temperament at any time, causing us to miss him at the critical moment. On the other hand, the other immortal flying next to Heaven Emperor was slightly more optimistic. He forced a smile and said, in fact, the Northern Domain is a bitter cold land in this plane. The population is far less than the Eastern Domain. The Western Domain is also far less than the Great Wilderness. It's only about the same as the Western Domain. In fact, the population is even smaller than the Western domain. It's not that difficult to investigate. More importantly, usually, there are relatively few people coming and going from the Northern domain. In other words, the floating population of the Northern domain is not much. I believe that after sealing off the Northern domain, it's not impossible to find Xiaohan disguised as an outsider. Stop talking, Heaven Emperor said coldly. Do you think that this is all I have? Sealing off the Northern domain and investigating is just to hold Xiaohan back so that he can't leave the Northern domain. As for finding Xiaohan, I have another way. This time, Xiaohan will definitely not be able to escape from my palm. Big Brother Heaven Emperor, you already have a good plan to capture Xiaohan? Northern domain. In the inn where Xiaohan stayed. Xiaohan had been in seclusion for more than half a month. In the room, the spirit turtle True Qi filled the entire room, shielding the energy fluctuations in the room. As for Xiaohan, wind and water rose from his left arm. Sometimes a demonic light would appear. Sometimes, immortal qi would shine. Xiaohan tossed the immortal artifacts one by one into the demon the arch left arm's palm and refined them as if they were free. After evolving, Xiaohan's demon the arch left arm palm could not only refine immortal corpses, but also various immortal artifacts. It could also refine them together. Xiaohan didn't care too much about it. He threw the immortal artifacts and Dharma treasures that he plundered from Godsword Sun and Du Longzi into the demon the arch left arm palm one after another, refining them into nourishment for the demon the arch left arm palm. Some of the immortal artifacts and Dharma treasures that Xiaohan refined were definitely great killing weapons that immortals used to save their lives. These were definitely great killing weapons that immortals used to protect their lives. They were extremely precious, but Xiaohan didn't care about them and refined them all. Not many days later, Godsword Sun and Du Longzi's storage rings. All of the items inside had been taken and refined by Xiaohan. Other than immortal artifacts and Dharma treasures, there were also some immortal artifacts, immortal pills, immortal medicines. They were all thrown into the demon the arch left arm palm. The demon the arch left arm palm simply didn't care about meat or vegetables. It refined everything it could get its hands on. Finally, boom. The trillions of demon veins inside the demon the arch left arm palm finally shattered. They turned into dense, star-like spots of demonic aura. Demon race energy spots. Demon stars shone brightly. These demonic aura energy spots were extremely powerful. They were formed after refining countless immortal bodies, immortal artifacts and immortal artifacts. Boom, boom, boom. These demonic aura energy spots spun like a hurricane and formed funnel-like vortexes. Inside the demon the arch left arm palm, a strong wind blew and sand and stones flew. Shockingly. Brr, brr, brr. All of a sudden, a terrifying demonic roar came from the frenzied whirlpool. A torrential energy that could destroy the heavens and the earth erupted from within. These demonic roars were suppressed in the small world within the palm of Xiaohan's left arm and did not leak out. Therefore, only Xiaohan himself could feel the terrifying destructive power contained within. If this kind of aura was released, it would definitely shatter the earth, the sky would darken, the mountains would split, the oceans would evaporate, and the beasts would flee in all directions. It would be a scene of doomsday. This aura is definitely 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times stronger than the aura of the demon race when the demon army from the alien plane arrived. Xiaohan was surprised and delighted. All the demonic veins have merged into one. Now there's no demonic veins in the demon the arch palm anymore. Evolution. It's evolved to an unprecedented level. I can almost feel that my demon the arch left arm palm can directly kill an immortal. I can kill an immortal head-on. At that moment, puff, a huge beast claw covered in dark red scales reached out from the demonic aura vortex, bringing with it a terrifying primordial aura. This claw seems to be a dragon claw? Xiaohan was startled. The next moment, roar. Then, another dragon head came out from the demonic aura vortex. The dragon head was extremely intelligent. It was burning with demonic fire. With a slight shake, it seemed like the space within 1,000 zhang would explode. Finally, roar. A vile dragon completely showed itself from the demonic aura vortex. The vile dragon had horns on its head and emitted a noble bloodline. But it was extremely evil. A monstrous evil aura. The demonic aura was like an ocean. Indeed, the thing that broke free from the demonic aura vortex was a dragon. But it was definitely not an immortal dragon, a heavenly dragon, or a sea dragon. It was a demonic dragon. A demonic dragon created by high-level demonic aura. Chapter 598. Xiaohan did not expect that after absorbing a large amount of energy from the immortal body and immortal weapon, the demon monarch left arm palm had completed a stage of evolution and gave birth to a demonic dragon. The demonic dragon swam out of the demonic chi vortex. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws, roaring and roaring non-stop. Watermark advertisement test: the dragon's body was wriggling non-stop, as if there was a huge demon embryo in the body of this demon dragon. Endless blood chi was emitted from the demon dragon's body, and a peerless demonic aura was gushing out from it. Dragon serpent patterns and dragon scales appeared on the body of the demonic dragon. It was an extremely evil primordial demonic dragon, primordial evil dragon, primordial blood dragon. Bright red blood seeped out of its dark red scales. It seemed to be the demonic blood of the demon realm. This primordial demonic dragon definitely possessed the bloodline of a superior being in the demon realm. Xiaohan had a feeling that this primordial demonic dragon was alive. Then, this primordial demonic dragon seems to be a part of my thoughts. It's like a creature of the demon realm created by combining my thoughts with the demonic power in the demon monarch left arm palm. It's like a clone but not exactly a clone. All sorts of strange feelings surged in his mind. That's right. This primordial demonic dragon is part of my power. It belongs to me. Just as Xiaohan was about to be enlightened, roar! A second primordial demonic dragon was born from the demonic chi vortex and broke free. Roar! The third. Roar! The fourth. A storm of blood. Demonic chi blotted out the sky. Primordial demonic dragons with protruding horns were born one after another, roaring and wriggling. As more and more primordial demonic dragons were born, the world inside Xiaohan's demon monarch left arm palm became more and more stable. The space crystal wall became stronger and stronger, surpassing that of a mundane realm. It had almost evolved to the level of the demon realm that could rival the immortal realm in the upper realm. Moreover, Xiaohan gradually understood the power of these primordial demonic dragons. Now, my physical body. It's a dual attribute immortal body with 40 immortal dragons' offensive and defensive power. Because of that, I have a relatively good understanding of immortal dragon power. This is equivalent to the power of 10 trillion cauldrons in the mundane world. At this moment, the demonic veins in the left arm demon emperor's palm have merged and created ancient demonic dragons. The power contained in each ancient demonic dragon is exactly equivalent to the power of one immortal dragon. One immortal dragon power. It was equivalent to a demon dragon being born in the left arm demon monarch's palm. In the end, a total of 40 demonic dragons were created in the palm of the left arm demon the arch. In other words, Xiaohan's left arm contained demonic energy. It was equivalent to 40 celestial dragon power. Ho, ho, ho. 40 demonic dragons roamed, circled, and roared in the palm of Xiaohan's left arm. Demonic light soared into the sky, multicolored light pervading the air. These 40 demonic dragons definitely had the power to destroy this mortal world and countless other mortal worlds. This wasn't the demonic energy of the mortal world. Any demonic sovereign or demonic the arch in the mortal world couldn't possibly possess such pure and noble demonic energy. This was the authentic power of the demonic world. It was a supreme force that was comparable to the celestial force of an immortal. It was the power at the top of the food chain. The 40 demonic dragons were all derived from Xiaohan's will and power. When Xiaohan used them, he could control them as if they were his own arms and fingers. Moreover, the 40 celestial dragon power was completely different from the 40 celestial dragon power of Xiaohan's immortal body. Xiaohan's immortal body was pure physical strength. The Thunder God Tyrant body's attacks were sharp, but it only focused on explosive, tearing, and destructive power. There was no technique to speak of. To put it bluntly, it was just brute force. Although he only had celestial force, if he encountered an immortal who descended, he couldn't kill him unless he ambushed them when they were unprepared. If it was a head-on fight, Xiaohan wouldn't be able to defend himself once the immortal who descended used celestial arts and dharma treasures. Perhaps he could only protect himself. However, the 40 celestial dragon power in the left arm demon monarch's palm could be used to activate demonic arts. The large number of grooves on the left arm demon monarch's palm were inlaid with demon emperor crystals and a large number of demon monarch forbidden spell runes. As a result, Xiaohan had mastered at least a few thousand demonic arts, and even more than 100 forbidden demonic arts. These were all obtained by Xiao Han after he slaughtered the demonic army during the planar calamity. He had refined all of them into the monarch beast's left arm. Before this, Xiao Han's demon emperor left arm palm hadn't evolved yet. Therefore, when he activated his demonic power and used these demonic arts and secret arts, he would be invincible in the mortal world. He would be able to kill any tower master or demon emperor. However, no matter how strong the demonic arts and secret techniques were, they couldn't fight against immortals because their demonic energy was too weak. They weren't on the same level at all. But now, the demonic energy contained in the left arm demon monarch's palm had evolved to the level of high-level demons in the upper realm. One celestial dragon power was on par with one celestial dragon power. Therefore, with Xiao Han's current demonic energy, he could use any of the demonic arts and forbidden spell inlaid into the left arm demon monarch's palm to fight against immortals who descended. He could even kill immortals directly. My combat power now is no less than that of the great demons in the upper realm of demons. According to Brother Jialan, I should be able to fight against a level 4 true immortal. 40 demon dragon power plus thousands of demonic arts. Xiao Han was shaken to the core. At this point, once I use the demonic arts, the Son of Heaven will most likely not be my match. Even Brother Jialan, I can fight against him directly. If I use thousands of demonic arts and secret techniques with the demonic energy of a level 4 true immortal, I shouldn't be at a disadvantage against a level 2 true immortal who descended. Xiao Han said in a daze as he used his psyche to penetrate into his left arm demon monarch's palm. He re-examined every demonic art and secret technique he had mastered. Apocalyptic demon blade, illusory movement, yellow demon tower, a demon city, heavenly demon immortal slaughtering technique, heavenly demon burning soul technique, thousands of demonic arts. Attack type, defense type, concealment type, destruction type, camouflage type, self-explosion type, control type, almost everything was there. It was tantamount to Xiao Han reopening a treasure vault. Every demonic art and secret technique is no less than a celestial technique. This time I've struck it rich. Ah! Xiao Han was simply intoxicated. The Son of Heaven. This time. I'll have a good fight with you. Ah! At this point, Xiao Han already had the capital to contend with immortals. I'll try this demonic art. Reincarnation technique. Xiao Han's left arm flashed with demonic light, activating a demonic art on his left arm demon monarch's palm. Boom! A faintly discernible line. An extremely obscure demonic aura swept across the surface of Xiao Han's body. In the next moment, Xiao Han's appearance, temperament, and body changed again. His height had been shortened by a notch, and his temperament had become extremely weak. He was like a scholar without the strength to truss a chicken. At the same time, his face also twisted and changed. Finally, Xiao Han's face became square with thick eyebrows and big eyes. Just like that, Xiao Han's disguise was even more realistic than before. Moreover, the disguise this time was almost untraceable. Everyone, even those who were most familiar with Xiao Han, could not recognize him at all. The current Xiao Han seemed to have been reincarnated into another person. This was one of the thousands of demonic arts that Xiao Han had mastered. This was a type of disguised demonic art. It was originally a technique of a mortal demon emperor. Once disguised, it could fool the heavens and the earth, and even human tower masters and half-immortals would not be able to detect it. It was extremely strange. Back then, the demon emperor who was proficient in this demonic art often disguised himself and wantonly harmed humans in the human world. The most shocking time was when this demon emperor actually snuck into the Yaoxia pagoda and ate the brains of 90 Yaoxia without being detected at all. In the end, the Yaoxia pagoda completely collapsed, the tower master went insane, and all the elders went crazy. In the end, this demon emperor ate the leader of the Yaoxia of this plane alive, and completed the demon race's great feat of conquering the plane and enslaving the human race. Now, Xiao Han had used the reincarnation technique with the demonic power of 40 demon dragons. His concealment and disguise skills were not something that the demon emperor could compare with. Haha, now, my disguise will not be a problem for me to fool those level 1 and level 2 true immortals who have descended. Xiao Han laughed casually and walked out in a dignified manner. Although this disguise technique is performed with demonic arts, those true immortals who have descended cannot see the subtle demonic aura fluctuations on my body. Reincarnation, almost no one in this world can see through my true form. Unless they are high-level true immortals, but high-level true immortals cannot descend to the mortal plane. Jia jia jia, jia jia jia. At the same time, the demon god's eerie and evil laughter came from Xiaohan's heart. There was a hint of gratification in this laughter, as if it was extremely satisfied with Xiaohan's current achievements and performance. Xiaohan wandered freely on the streets of this city in the northern region. He even bought a folding fan and swayed it back and forth. He completely looked like a weak scholar. There was even a hint of pedantry. At the same time, Xiaohan was also observing. Currently, the entire city was in a state of chaos. There were checks everywhere, and soldiers armed to the teeth were patrolling everywhere, tracking down passers-by. There were even some cold-looking martial artists in the true energy realm wandering the streets and alleys like ghosts. Xiaohan also clearly saw some outsiders with faces full of resentment, cursing and swearing as they were escorted out of the city by fiendish soldiers. Oh, that bastard son of heaven is ordering the mortals to search the entire northern region for outsiders again. Xiaohan sneered. At this moment, dozens of soldiers and rogue cultivators of the Jianghu walked towards Xiaohan from all directions with malicious expressions, surrounding him. **** mountain range ***** palace ***** Jialanzi, Wuyu, and the others were extremely worried about Xiaohan's safety. Brother Jialanzi, ever since Xiaohan killed immortal Du Longzi, he disappeared without a trace. There is no news of him at all. I wonder where he is now. Wuyu said worriedly. In the northern region. Jialanzi's pupils shrank slightly. Now, almost all the immortals who have descended to this plane have gathered in the northern region and sealed off the entire northern region. After a pause, Jialanzi looked at Wuyu. Brother Wu, let's go to the northern region as well. Although we won't interfere with the bet between Xiaohan and Son of Heaven, I can't help but want to go to the northern region. I don't know why, but I keep feeling that something very special will happen in the northern region in the future. Chapter 599. Xiaohan had just completed the evolution of the left arm of the demon monarch palm and condensed the strength of 40 demon dragons, causing all the demon emperor crystals and demon monarch mystic technique runes embedded in the left arm of the demon monarch palm to be transformed from useless to a great treasure that could compete with the descending immortals. This made Xiaohan feel very satisfied. Xiaohan walked out of the inn and walked on the streets of the city. Immediately, aggressive humans swarmed him from all directions and surrounded him. Xiaohan did not mind and calmly stood there. Then, his mental energy quietly spread out and enveloped the entire northern region. All of a sudden, Xiaohan froze for a moment. Northern region. The number of immortals was already close to 300. This was an extremely shocking number. Xiaohan knew that there were only about 300 immortals that descended to his plane. Now, the immortals that gathered in the northern region were almost the total number of immortals that descended. Among these nearly 300 immortal senses, Xiaohan found some familiar immortal senses. Among them, there was the aura of Heaven Emperor and the group of immortals under him. Xiaohan even found Taotaizi, Heizi, Su Huizi, Yu Yangzi, Marvelous Mathematician, and other immortals that had obtained a place to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure from him. Among the nearly 300 immortal senses, some were full of resentment and hatred, some were full of curiosity, and some were slightly worried. Yes, not all the immortals in the northern region wanted to capture and humiliate Xiaohan. There were also immortals that were extremely repulsed by Heaven Emperor. Moreover, Xiaohan also found that the spatial crystal barrier of the entire northern region had been solidified by layers of immortal senses. This made it impossible for Xiaohan to use illusory movement to teleport away from the northern region. Of course, with Xiaohan's current demonic strength, he could forcibly use illusory movement to break through the immortal senses. However, it would definitely alarm the immortals and cause Heaven Emperor and the other immortals to besiege and kill him. However, why would Xiaohan want to escape at this moment? Heck, I've used this strange demonic technique of the reincarnation technique. My current concealment technique is several times more powerful than the one I used to change the frequency of my soul fluctuations. Moreover, it has been proven that the true immortals who descend here, whether they are level 1 or level 2 true immortals, are almost unable to see through my disguise or detect my aura. Now that I've sensed the demonic chi, I'm absolutely safe. There's no need for me to run away. Xiaohan's mentality was also very relaxed. Indeed, he stood there. Dozens of celestial intents had already swept across the sky to investigate him, but none of them had found any flaws on Xiaohan's body. Oh? You don't look familiar. Show me your household registration certificate, said a middle-aged soldier. He walked straight to Xiao Han and berated him without the slightest scruple. At this moment, Xiao Han was dressed like a frail scholar. He held a folding fan in his hand, and there was not the slightest energy fluctuation coming from his body. Furthermore, his physical body seemed to be extremely weak. In the face of the interrogation, he became playful and said while shaking his head, "I am a scholar. I came all the way from the eastern region to collect poems. Unexpectedly, you people of the northern region are really ridiculous. You interrogate and capture outsiders all over the street. How dare you? How dare you? Ha ha ha. This scholar doesn't have much flesh on his body, but he's really pedantic. Ha ha ha." The soldiers and Jianghu cultivators who surrounded Xiao Han all burst into laughter. Then the soldiers forcibly took Xiao Han away without any explanation. Xiao Han did not resist at all. He happily left with the soldiers. Not far from the city where Xiao Han was, there was a big city that was as warm as spring. In a restaurant in the city, a group of men and women with extremely noble temperaments were sitting in a private room on the third floor of the restaurant. This group of men and women all had a faint immortal aura. Although they all looked young and were in the prime of their youth, they all had the air of immortals and were not to be underestimated. Oh whoa. A man with a fat head and big ears was squatting at the table, eating and drinking like a whirlwind. A valiant and formidable-looking woman slightly frowned. She was both angry and amused at the same time. "Tao Tai, you still have the mood to eat, drink and be merry at this time? Really?" The one who was eating and drinking was the immortal Tao Tai. Beside Tao Tai were Black and White Zi, Su Huizi, Shi Yangzi, marvelous mathematician Yu Yangzi, a group of immortals. "Brother Tao Tai, don't eat any more." Yu Yangzi shook his head and laughed. Now, Brother Xiao has been confirmed to be in the northern region. The entire northern region has been completely sealed. The Son of Heaven and the others have gathered a large number of immortals and vowed to capture Brother Xiao. Brother Xiao is in trouble. How can we sit back and do nothing? Gugugu. Tao Tai gulped down another gourd of wine and said with a chuckle, "Everyone don't worry. Brother Xiao Han will not lose today's bet. In the demonic hero pagoda of this plane, all of you have seen Brother Xiao's miraculous means with your own eyes. He can even refine immortal tools, magic treasures and ancient divine medicines that we can't refine and create a rare dual attribute immortal physique. How can such a person be defeated by a despicable person like the Son of Heaven? Don't worry everyone. Even so, the Son of Heaven is not that easy to deal with. Moreover, the Son of Heaven has gathered a lot of immortals. It's inevitable that Brother Xiao can't do anything alone. We have all received Brother Xiao's kindness. We can't just sit back and do nothing. Let's think of a way to help Brother Xiao deal with the Son of Heaven together." Su Huizi said seriously. "Don't act rashly. If we interfere, Brother Xiao will lose." The experienced and prudent Black and White man said. "We're all very familiar with the frequency of Brother Xiao's soul fluctuations. Even we can't find Brother Xiao now. Therefore, even though Emperor Heaven has the advantage in numbers, he might not be able to find Brother Xiao. Since Brother Jialan can't intervene, we can't be too smart. How about this? If everyone wants to help Brother Xiao, then from now on, we'll split up and contact the immortals who have come to the northern region. We'll ask them not to ally with Emperor Heaven and become his accomplice. I believe that many of the immortals who have come to the northern region are just here to watch the show and not to go against Brother Xiao. We'll contact this group of immortals and make them all stand on Brother Xiao's side." "All right," that valiant female immortal said. He stood up immediately. "Let's split up. As long as we stand on Brother Xiao's side and don't go against Brother Xiao, then the matter of the quota will be settled." He was easy to talk to. Brother Xiao is not a person who makes things difficult for others by nature. On the contrary, if you follow Son of Heaven, you might lose the chance to enter the second level of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Let's go. Let's go find those neutral immortals and persuade them. Yu Yangzi, Tao Tai, Shi Yangzi and the other immortals all stood up. High heaven in the northern territory. Immortal clouds floated in the sky. Heaven's sun was sitting upright. At this moment, his expression was extremely serious. Moreover, his lips opened and closed repeatedly. Countless air currents surged and blew into the distance. It seemed that these air currents were blowing toward another plane. Furthermore, one could faintly see faint immortal character runes within the airflow. The immortals standing behind Son of Heaven all had tense expressions. Deep in their eye sockets, there was a hint of uneasiness and apprehension. They were among themselves. They were also using their immortal senses to whisper and communicate with each other through their souls. "Everyone, the situation seems to be extremely bad. It's far beyond our control. Originally, we thought that we could seal off the northern territory and then invite a large number of immortals and countless mortals to conduct a carpet search. We can find Xiao Han. Even if we can't find him directly, we can still get some clues. But now it seems that we were wrong. We've searched for many days and found nothing. Could it be that we're going to lose to Xiao Han this time? Once we lose, the consequences will be unimaginable. So, back then, none of us thought that it would be like this. Xiao Han is too powerful. At this moment, Son of Heaven stood up with his hands behind his back. His eyes flashed with indifference and pride as well as confidence. Enough. Don't use soul transmissions to communicate. I understand your thoughts very well. None of you can afford to lose. Son of Heaven said indifferently. Then he smiled coldly. Indeed, none of us can afford to lose. None of us are willing to lose to a mortal. But according to the current situation, it's very likely that we'll lose. After a pause, Son of Heaven suddenly raised his voice. But we won't lose. Ah. Just now, I've already communicated with a few of my best friends. They will rush over from other planes to help me. What? The few immortals were horrified. A few of my best friends, such as Ghost Spirit, have also descended from the immortal world. However, they didn't descend to this realm. Instead, they descended to another mundane realm. Just now, I've already told them the spatial coordinates of this realm and asked them to come and help me immediately. The Son of Heaven's face was filled with a ferocious and confident smile. About a few days later, several of my good friends will arrive. With the arrival of strong reinforcements, I'd like to see if Xiao Han, that ant, can continue to hide. You should know how powerful my friend, the Phantom Child, is. Phantom Child cultivates a soul-type immortal technique. His combat strength won't lose to me, nor will he lose to Jiao Lanzi. Moreover, Phantom Child is best at dissecting souls and tracing soul fluctuations. No matter how Xiao Han disguises himself, he definitely can't hide from Phantom Child. But, Big Brother Son of Heaven, isn't this against the rules? The few immortals said anxiously. The immortals who descended to this plane are already in a situation where there are too many monks but not enough gruel to enter the second layer of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. Now, Big Brother Son of Heaven is asking the immortals who descended to other planes to come over. What if Phantom Child and the others also want to obtain a spot from Xiao Han? Wouldn't that be crossing the line? Shut up, you trash. It's impossible to find Xiao Han with just you. Son of Heaven scolded coldly. After a pause, Son of Heaven's tone also slightly slowed down. Don't worry, Phantom Child and the others have most likely obtained a spot from other planes. They're here this time only to help me. Besides, even if they need a spot, it doesn't matter. I'll guarantee the spots for you guys. I can't let you go back empty-handed. Hearing this, the few immortals heaved a sigh of relief. One of the immortals said softly. Yes, Big Brother Son of Heaven, Phantom Child's reputation is also very famous in the immortal world. He's a rare cultivator of mental strength. His tracking and identification skills are indeed unparalleled. As long as Phantom Child comes, Xiao Han will have nowhere to hide. Of course, after I capture Xiao Han, I'll definitely torture him until he's better off dead than alive. Son of Heaven gritted his teeth and said. Chapter 600. Xiao Han was brought to a huge square in the city by the group of soldiers. At this moment, there were nearly 10,000 people gathered in the square. There were ordinary mortals, martial artists, and even some true Qi realm martial artists. There were men and women, old and young, and all of them were foreigners. Not only were these foreigners not allowed to leave the northern region, but they were also forcibly brought here to be interrogated. This caused the outsiders to all have indignant expressions on their faces. But most of them didn't dare to say anything. That was because there was a young man with an extremely sharp and cold aura overseeing the plaza. This young man swept his gaze across the plaza as if he wanted to devour everyone. His aura was completely suppressing the outsiders in the plaza. None of the foreigners had any doubt that this young man could kill them with a slight movement of his finger. Oh, so it's an immortal. Xiao Han stood among the foreigners without batting an eyelid, but his heart was full of mockery. I'm standing right in front of you, I'd like to see what you can find. Ah, idiot. At this moment, the city lord of this city timidly walked to the side of the immortal and said in a low voice, Sir, you're not allowed to enter or leave our city. Mister, no one is allowed to enter or leave this city. Currently, the check on the foreigners has been completed. The last wave of foreigners has already entered the plaza. Mister, please take a look. The immortal nodded slightly. There were traces of fatigue on his face as he murmured, I've searched another city. After this last batch of people is done, I'll head to the other cities and search again. After saying that, the immortal's immortal sense spread out like a tide and directly enveloped the tens of thousands of foreigners standing in the square. The search began. The immortal's immortal sense carefully identified the frequency of the tens of thousands of foreigners' soul fluctuations. At such a close distance, the immortal used his immortal sense to carefully identify the frequency of these foreigners' soul fluctuations. It was also extremely accurate. As soon as he found something wrong, he could immediately respond. His immortal senses were like the tide, rolling past every single outsider and inspecting them inch by inch. Xiaohan smiled faintly and stood still. The immortal's immortal sense carefully searched Xiaohan's body and soul aura. However, Xiaohan's reincarnation spell was unleashed with the demonic power of 40 demonic dragons. How could a level 2 true immortal see through it? Naturally, the immortal's inspection of Xiaohan lasted for hundreds of breaths before it finally ended. The immortal didn't discover anything. The immortal was extremely strict. It took him the time it took to make a cup of tea before he finished inspecting the soul fluctuations of the tens of thousands of people in the square. He bitterly shook his head with a slightly disappointed look on his face as he indifferently said to the city lord, All right, get these outsiders to disperse. I will leave this city right now. Yes, yes. The city lord nodded and bowed. If you continue searching like this, not to mention half a year, even if you have 10 or 20 years, you definitely won't be able to find me. Xiaohan laughed coldly in his heart. Xiaohan's reincarnation secret art allowed him to transform into an endless number of different kinds of soul fluctuations. He could disguise himself as a peddler, a noble, a true qi expert. This made Xiaohan invincible. Whoosh, in next to no time, the immortal transformed into a ray of light that flashed and vanished into the distance. Damn it! The outsiders in the square all heaved a sigh of relief. They cursed and left like the tide. Forget it, this city has already been searched by those rude fellows. Although we will still not be able to leave in the future, it will be better than being captured and inspected. Some of the outsiders repeatedly comforted themselves. Yes, no immortals would come to this city to search again. The immortals would focus their energy on other cities that hadn't been searched yet. I'll stay in this city leisurely for a period of time, waiting for these immortals to become anxious and impatient after failing so many times, and their defenses slacken. Then I'll slowly settle the score with them. What if I kill some more immortals and obtain their immortal bodies and immortal artifacts to feed my left demon monarch palm? Xiaohan's heart was slightly burning. He licked his lips as he walked. Son of Heaven, you spent so much effort to deal with me, Xiaohan. It's impolite not to reciprocate. Du Longzi is only the first immortal to fall, but he definitely won't be the last. Now that his combat strength had skyrocketed, Xiaohan already had the idea of going all out and going all out. In the beginning, Xiaohan still had an instinctive fear towards the descending immortals. Then, after successfully forging a dual attribute immortal body, Xiaohan dared to deal with immortals and even ambush them. At this time, his demon power and demonic techniques were flourishing, which made Xiaohan even more confident. Even in the face of immortals, he had a near-invincible mentality. Son of Heaven and the other immortals had gone too far. Xiaohan wanted to completely bury this group of immortals in the mortal world. After retreating from the square, Xiaohan happily went to drink good wine and taste the local delicacies of the northern region. Then he wandered around the city. He went to the flower and bird markets and was in an extremely good mood. After that, Xiaohan found the most beautifully decorated inn in the city and settled down comfortably. In the next few days, Xiaohan's life was very regular. He got up in the morning and drank his morning tea. Then he would go to the flower and bird markets or walk his dog. After lunch, he would go to the market to find people to play chess with. At night, if he was in a good mood, he would go and listen to beautiful girls sing. Xiaohan was not in a hurry at all. He was waiting for an opportunity. He was waiting for the patience of Son of Heaven and the other immortals to be worn down bit by bit and the chance to be in chaos. There are only 3 months left before the half-year bet. Son of Heaven, let's see if you are in a hurry. Xiaohan was extremely confident in his heart. In the sky leading to the northern region. Xiao, above an immortal cloud, Jia Lanzi stood against the wind. His brows were slightly knitted as if he was thinking about something but could not find an answer. Wu Yu, Xiao Mingqiu, Dongfang Qin, and Fang Ling stood behind Jialanzi. Brother Jialanzi, we are about to reach the northern region, Wu Yu said with slight excitement. Indeed, the entire northern region seems to be extremely rich in immortal qi. Obviously there are many crouching tigers and hidden dragons. After a pause, Wu Yu sighed. I wonder how Xiao Han is now. He is dealing with so many immortals with his own strength. This is really, Sect Master Wu, don't worry. Brother Xiao is currently safe and sound. On the other hand, Son of Heaven and the others are already as anxious as ants on a hot pan, Jialanzi said with a forced smile. Brother Xiao has hidden himself very well. Xiao Mingqiu suddenly said. We have been brothers with junior brother Xiao Han for so many years. We are very familiar with him. I have a subtle feeling that junior brother Xiao Han is indeed in the northern region, but we can't know his exact location. There are still 3 months until the bet. Fang Ling's eyes focused. As long as Xiao Han can survive these 3 months, Son of Heaven and the other immortals will lose and have to obediently scram back to the immortal world. Brother Xiao has a great chance of winning. However, I have a feeling that an extremely sensational event will happen in the northern region. Jialanzi's eyes were shrouded in a layer of fog and his brows could not relax. Brother Jialanzi, what is the event that you are referring to? Wu Yu and the others asked in unison. However, Jialanzi shook his head slightly. It's a kind of premonition, Sect Master Wu and everyone else. Back in the immortal world, I followed some elders and cultivated for a period of time. Those elders are all very powerful, and they are experts in divination so they can roughly predict the future. I am not talented but I have only learned a little. Suddenly, Jialanzi's eyes focused and looked at the vast territory of the northern region. I seem to have seen a bloody world. Massacres, storms and corpses are everywhere. This is an ominous sign. Never mind, the northern region is relatively peaceful now. Brother Xiao won't show himself easily. Perhaps nothing major will happen. Maybe my senses were wrong. After a pause, Jialanzi sorted out his emotions. Then, with a wave of his right hand, several celestial talismans burned and turned into ashes that entered his body, as well as the bodies of Wu Li and the others. Then their auras became extremely faint and undetectable. Let's also conceal our auras and quietly enter the northern region. Don't let Son of Heaven and the others discover us, lest there be any complications, Jialanzi said with a faint smile. Let's go into the northern region. Western region. A vast desert. Thousands of miles of yellow sand. Hot steam rose. This was an uninhabited desert area, and it was completely empty. At this moment, boom, in the sky, a giant vortex suddenly appeared. Terrifying energy fluctuations formed beams of light that shot out from the vortex and directly bombarded the desert. Bang! Bang! Billions of tons of yellow sand exploded, evaporated, obliterated. In the blink of an eye, the huge desert evolved into a giant crater. Not even a blade of grass grew. Not a single grain of sand touched it. Then, I finally arrived at this plain. Ha. A large group of men and women, nearly 100 in number, descended from the giant vortex in the sky. These men and women, each and every one of them empty-handed, looked down on everything as if they were kings of the world. Their pores floated with the charm of immortals. They were all immortals. The leader was dressed in a black robe. His face was ordinary but his eyes were extremely special. They were bottomless like an abyss, a nightmare. These eyes seemed to be able to absorb all light and seemed to be able to devour all matter. Anyone who was targeted by these eyes seemed to have nowhere to hide. Even if they fled to the ends of the earth, they would be found by these eyes. These were a pair of demonic eyes. Spectral child, Emperor Tsangtian actually told us the spatial coordinates of the mortal realm that he descended to. Most of us didn't manage to obtain a spot to enter the second floor of the Judao Immortal Emperor's treasure, so we were worried and frustrated. I didn't expect Emperor Tsangtian to lead us here, giving us another chance. This time, no matter what price we have to pay, we must get the quota in this plane. A short and fat immortal said while licking his lips. Heck, His Majesty and I are sworn friends. He seems to have encountered a troublesome matter in this realm, so he asked me to come over and help him. His Majesty promised that once the matter is resolved, we will be able to divide the spots in this realm together. The black-robed immortal said coldly. Alright, let's go meet up with Heaven's Son and help him solve the problem. Chapter 601. Another group of immortals had arrived at Xiaohan's plain. The immortal world attached great importance to the exploration of the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove. Some immortal emperors with authority had selected a large number of young immortals from a large number of sects in the immortal world to meet the requirements of descending to the mundane plane. Immortals who were limited to level 2 true immortals were allowed to descend to various mundane planes. They were looking for mortal geniuses who had obtained immortal keys from the genius zone. Although there was no written rule, the immortals who had descended to a certain plane were not allowed to go to other planes. They could not cross the boundary. To put it bluntly, they could not go to other immortals' planes to snatch a spot. In other words, they could not snatch food from other people's bowls. At this moment, Spectral Child had received the invitation of Sun Heaven and directly arrived at Xiaohan's plane. It was tantamount to crossing the boundary. Let's go. Let's find Sun Heaven. Under Spectral Child's command, a large group of immortals flew towards the northern region. Master Spectral Spirit was also a natural leader and had a huge aura. Therefore, the immortals who followed behind him were all respectful and submissive, as if they were giving orders to him. The number of immortals following Spectral Child was also close to 100. Big brother Spectral Child, this plane seems to be much more prosperous than the planes we descended to. Some immortals said to Spectral Child with a smile. It is said that in this plane, there is only one mortal who holds the spot to enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove. Some of the planes we descended to also have more than one mortal who holds the spot. But in this plane there is only one, and that is Xiaohan. Yes, Xiaohan, said another immortal. Another immortal nodded slightly. This person is not simple. It is said to be the first level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove. In the Genius Zone, the mortal who obtained the title of Chief Genius obtained the only purple immortal key. He is an extremely powerful mortal. Ha ha ha. Hearing this, many immortals let out mocking and disdainful laughter. Powerful? No matter how powerful he is still a mortal, a slightly stronger ant. Yes, even if he is the chief genius among the mortals. If we want to kill him, all we need is a thought. Now that we're in this plane, the first thing we need to do is to capture Xiaohan and intimidate him. Once we have him under our control, we'll make him docile and obedient to us. If we want him to kneel, he'll kneel. If they wanted him to die, he would die. He was just a mere mortal. It's impossible that I can't handle it. Enough. All of you shut up. Suddenly, the spirit child spoke indifferently. Although his tone was extremely light, the sound waves contained a bewitching and soul-shaking power. All of a sudden, the gossiping immortals shut their mouths. Keep quiet out of fear. All of them stared at the Son of Spirit with their mouths agape. Xiaohan is indeed not a person to be underestimated. Don't think that all mortals are the same as the mundane realms that you've descended to, that they're all so weak that they wag their tails and beg for pity. I can tell you that the reason Sun Heaven sent me a message to help is because he suffered a loss at Xiaohan's hands, Master Spectral Spirit said indifferently. The troublesome matter that I told you about is referring to this Xiaohan. Hiss. A large group of immortals gasped in shock. Sun Heaven. He actually suffered a loss in the hands of Xiaohan, a mortal like Xiaohan. This is unbelievable. Sun Heaven is an outstanding immortal among the younger generation of our immortal world. That mortal Xiaohan is an expert in soul spirit power and knows how to disguise. Suddenly, Master Spectral Spirit smiled mockingly. His eyes were filled with eagerness as he suddenly became excited. I'm also an expert in soul spirit power. Interesting, very interesting. I didn't expect that after descending to the mundane world, I would actually find such a spice in the incomparably dull atmosphere. After a pause, Master Spectral Spirit raised his eyes to the sky and murmured, I've already obtained the quota to enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure from a mortal genius in the plane that I descended to. However, that Xiaohan obtained a purple immortal key, which is known as the most precious immortal key. With my identity, I naturally used the purple immortal key to teleport to the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. That's the only logical thing. Therefore, it's certain that I'll obtain a quota from Xiaohan. As for you, some of you didn't obtain a quota. Now obtain it from Xiaohan. Master Spectral Spirit said with absolute certainty. Thank you, Big Brother Spectral Spirit, for giving us this opportunity. Dozens of immortals expressed their gratitude at the same time. Moreover, each of their faces revealed an expression of being rescued from a hopeless situation. After a brief pause, one of the immortals said with a slightly worried tone. However, big brother Yulingzi, I heard that the sanctimonious Jialanzi has also descended to this plane. Jialanzi has always been the sworn enemy of the Heaven Emperor. If we help the Heaven Emperor to deal with Xiaohan and seize the quota, I'm afraid that Jialanzi will interfere. It's fine. I'll join hands with Sun Heaven and we'll definitely defeat Jialanzi. Master Spectral Spirit smiled coldly. Northern Region. In a restaurant in a bustling downtown area. In a private room on the second floor. Tao Dai Heizi and Yu Yangzi, the three immortals who descended, were entertaining 6 immortals. These 6 immortals all had extremely kind temperaments and a sense of righteousness. At this moment Tao Tai said with a huff, "Everyone, I hope that you won't continue to help that despicable person, Sun Heaven. I think you all know Sun Heaven's character very well. This person is arbitrary and self-opinionated. Don't make a mistake. On the contrary, Brother Xiaohan has a firm grasp on the quota. One word from him can let you enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure in a few years. Moreover, Brother Xiaohan has a boundless future. In the future he will definitely be able to ascend to the immortal world. He's very easy to get along with now. If you make friends with him, you will definitely benefit a lot. Brother Tao Dai, don't worry. The few of us originally only came to the northern region to watch the show. We have never intervened in the battle between Sun Heaven and Xiaohan. We are naturally willing to get along with Xiaohan peacefully. In exchange for a quota. We are also willing to be friends with a mortal like Xiaohan. After all, even Jialanzi is friends with Xiaohan. We have always admired Jialanzi's judgment of people." The 6 immortals all said with a serious face. "That's good. Well then, everyone, I'll take my leave now and wait for Xiaohan to appear. When Xiaohan appears, I, Tao Tai, will introduce Xiaohan to you. You can discuss the quota." Tao Tai said in a clear voice. The 6 immortals exchanged pleasantries and then left one after another. It seems that most of the descended immortals are actually unwilling to conspire with Sun Heaven. Black and White smiled with satisfaction. Then, his expression was slightly stifled, and he immediately smiled. Su Huizi and Shi Yangzi have also successfully contacted 4 descended immortals. These 4 immortals are also willing to drink and chat with Brother Xiao. There will be no war. These immortal friends of Xiaohan were contacting the descended immortals, asking them to stand on Xiaohan's side and not cooperate with Sun Heaven to deal with Xiaohan. An empire in the northern region. In a restaurant in the imperial city. Jialanzi, Wu Hao, Xiao Mingqiu, Dongfang Qin, and Fang Ling had already concealed their auras and arrived in the northern region. There are immortal senses everywhere in the northern region. There are a lot of immortals. It's really chaotic. I hope these immortals are not Xiaohan's enemies. Wu Hao said with a tense face. Sect Master Wu, don't worry too much about Brother Xiao. Until now, Sun Heaven and the others have been searching for Brother Zhao's whereabouts in vain. Brother Zhao's hiding is too perfect. Jialanzi smiled. Suddenly, Jialanzi's expression changed dramatically. Jialanzi's eyebrows were tightly knitted. His facial expression began to distort. A look of anger appeared on Jialanzi's face. What's going on? Brother Jialanzi, what are you doing? Wu Hao and the others were all shocked. How dare you? This is really outrageous. Jialanzi almost roared in anger. Sun Heaven can't do anything to Brother Xiao. He actually invited reinforcements. Jialanzi said angrily. Brother Jialanzi, Sun Heaven has been winning over immortals everywhere and has received a lot of help. This is not something that happened in a day or two. It has been like this for a long time. Why is Brother Jialanzi so angry now? Fang Ling said puzzledly. Sun Heaven broke the rules. He actually told the group of immortals who descended to other planes the spatial coordinates of this plane. Jialanzi's pupils shrank. Nearly 100 immortals who should have descended to other planes, uninvited guests, have now entered the northern region and met up with the Emperor of Heaven. What? Immortals who descended to other planes suddenly came to our plane? Wu Hao and the others were shocked. Ghost Child? Sun Heaven actually invited Ghost Child. Jialanzi's face was as dark as water. Ghost Child? Wu Hao and the others all looked at Jialanzi. This person is good at soul and mental strength cultivation. He is said to have a pair of eyes that can see through reincarnation and is best at tracking and investigation. Jialanzi frowned. This time Brother Xiao is in trouble. Northern region. Ah. Ghost Child, long time no see. You're still the same, ha. Sun Heaven led dozens of immortals and finally met up with the immortals led by Ghost Child. The two of them were full of joy and greeted each other enthusiastically. This time I still have to thank Ghost Child for helping me. Sun Heaven smiled. Sun Heaven, you and I are friends of life and death. There's no need to be polite. Ghost Child also smiled. Speaking of which, it's also embarrassing to actually fall into the hands of a mortal. It's really frustrating. However, it's not that the mortal's combat strength is fierce, but he's too slippery. He's good at changing the frequency of soul fluctuations and changing his temperament. And I'm not good at the Tao of Soul, so I need Ghost Child's help. Ghost Child, don't worry. As long as we capture Xiao Han, the quota will be decided by the two of us. Sun Heaven said seriously. Well said. Ghost Child smiled confidently. Then let's begin. Sun Heaven, don't worry. No matter how deep that Xiao Han hides, no matter who he disguises as, give me 2 hours, I'll capture him. To be continued? Ew. Chapter 602. That Ghost Child had finally arrived from another plane and met up with Son of Heaven. Watermark advertisement test. After the watermark advertisement test, Ghost Child immediately sat down cross-legged and condensed his mental force. In his brain, there was a faint strange sound of surging tides. Rays of dazzling red halos radiated out. Upon closer inspection, these red halos were densely packed with immortal character runes. Moreover, there were countless thumb-sized shadows of Ghost Child sitting cross-legged. Extremely mystical. Son of Heaven looked at Ghost Child with great satisfaction. He subconsciously nodded and murmured, Xiao Han, I want to see how you will escape this time. It's alright, Son of Heaven, don't be anxious. Within 2 hours, Xiao Han will be captured. Ghost Child smiled coldly. His eyes were filled with conceit. Hearing this, the immortals under Son of Heaven's command were all very disdainful. One should know that although this Ghost Child was invited, he should not have been able to come to this mundane plane. The plane that he planned to descend on was not this plane. Moreover, not only did Ghost Child come by himself, he also brought nearly 100 aggressive immortals with him. In this case, it was very likely that they would be able to divide the limited quota to enter the second floor of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure. This caused the immortals under Son of Heaven to instinctively reject Ghost Child and the others. When they heard Ghost Child swear that he would capture Xiao Han within 2 hours, they did not think much of it. You want to capture Xiao Han within 2 hours? You're too arrogant. Under the lead of Big Brother Son of Heaven, we sealed the North region and searched for more than a month. We couldn't even find a single trace of Xiao Han's hiding spot. The moment Ghost Child came. You want to capture Xiao Han? Dream on. If he really finds Xiao Han within 2 hours, it will highlight our incompetence and cause us to lose all our face. Very soon, the dazzling red halos emitted from Ghost Child's brain overlapped and shrouded the entire North region. The soul fluctuations and aura of all the living beings in this North region are all within my grasp. Ghost Child smiled slightly. I specialize in soul-type immortal arts. This time, I encountered a mortal whose soul is comparable to an ordinary immortal. Interesting, very interesting. But, it's impossible for me, Ghost Child, to lose to a mortal in terms of soul. Pausing for a moment, Master Spectral frowned slightly. Oh? I seem to have sensed Jialanzi's soul aura. He appeared in the northern region. Jialanzi is here too? Oh? Jialanzi had also quietly arrived in the northern region? I didn't notice that. Heaven Emperor was slightly stunned, but he quickly smiled and said, It doesn't matter, Spirit Child. If the two of us join forces, we have absolute confidence in suppressing Jialanzi. Even if Jialanzi wanted to intervene and save Xiao Han, there's nothing I can do. After pausing for a moment, a trace of ruthlessness flashed across the eyes of the Son of Heaven. At this time, if Jialanzi, that sanctimonious fellow, dares to jump out again, he will be seeking his own death. That's right, Son of Heaven. If you and I join forces, Jialanzi will definitely lose. Then I will start searching for Xiao Han's soul aura. Son of Heaven, previously, you have obtained the soul aura frequency of Xiao Han's first disguise. Now that he has changed his soul aura again, you will not be able to find Xiao Han based on the first soul aura frequency. I have a few ways to quickly find Xiao Han. The first is to reverse the soul aura frequency. The second is to provide Xiao Han's original soul aura frequency and the soul aura frequency after his first disguise. Then we can deduce the embryonic form of his soul. Embryonic form of his soul? Heaven Emperor and the other immortals were puzzled. Ha ha ha, Master Spectral laughed loudly. When talking about souls, you naturally don't understand. To put it simply, every living being, be it a mortal or an immortal, has a specific soul aura and soul origin. No matter how much they disguise or hide, the soul origin will not change. For example, if Xiao Han disguises himself as a rough and fierce man, will he really become a rough and fierce man? Actually, no. The essence of his soul will still not change. Oh, I kind of understand now. Heaven Emperor nodded seriously. Spirit child, you're trying to deduce the essence of Xiao Han's soul. Then you'll be able to find Xiao Han, who's pretending to be Xiao Han. Yes. Then give me the original soul aura frequency imprint and the soul aura frequency imprint after his first disguise. I can quickly deduce the essence of Xiao Han's soul and find him among the billions of living beings in the northern region. The essence of every person's soul is unique, just like a fingerprint on the palm. Once I deduce the essence of Xiao Han's soul, no matter how he changes, even if he disguises himself as a woman, a child, or a baby, I will be able to find him in an instant. Good. You are indeed worthy of being the #1 genius in soul cultivation among the younger generation in the immortal world. Heaven Emperor praised. At the same time, Heaven Emperor flicked his fingers twice and 2 seemingly real yet illusory ripples floated out from his fingertips. These are the soul aura frequency imprints of Xiao Han that I've captured and memorized. Among them are Xiao Han's real soul aura frequency imprints and the soul aura frequency imprints that were collected by my men in the western region after his first disguise. Master Spectral, take a good look at them. Heaven Emperor smiled. Very good. Master Spectral's eyes narrowed. Suddenly, a terrifying vortex seemed to have appeared in his pitch-black pupils that wanted to devour everything. Many of the immortals present felt dizzy and retreated. The 2 seemingly real yet illusory soul aura frequency imprints were directly absorbed by Master Spectral's pupils. Then Master Spectral closed his eyes and remained motionless. His expression was as if he was meditating. Heaven Emperor and the other immortals quietened down. Northern region. In the private room of the restaurant where Jialanzi and the others were staying. Jialanzi's temperament was also extremely strong. After a short moment of rage and losing his composure, he calmed down. After a short moment of anger, he regained his composure. Jialanzi looked at the sky outside the window. Looking at the floating clouds in the sky, he said indifferently, Master Spectral is really powerful. His soul is so strong that I've been discovered by him. Brother Jialanzi, what should we do now? Wu Li asked anxiously. That Heaven Emperor is really shameless. He is incompetent and can't find Xiao Han. He actually invited reinforcements from the immortals who descended to other planes. Xiao Mingqiu also said with a face of dissatisfaction. Brother Jialanzi. In this way Heaven Emperor has clearly broken the rules of the bet. Jialanzi pondered for a moment and then said word by word. Yes, Heaven Emperor has broken the rules of the bet. Moreover, from the current situation, he invited Master Spectral to come over and no longer abide by the rules of the bet. He wants to eat Xiao Han. Moreover, they probably also think that as long as I intervene, they will definitely eat me up. This? Wu Li and the others all stood up anxiously. Shameless. Too shameless. As an immortal, how can he be shameless to this extent? Dong Fangqin was anxious. Everyone don't worry. Jialanzi said solemnly. Let's wait and see for the time being. Let's see if Master Spectral can find Brother Xiao. Once Brother Xiao's whereabouts are exposed, I will make a move. After a pause, Jialanzi said coldly in an inaudible voice. Master Spectral, Heaven Emperor, do you really think that if you join forces you can firmly suppress me, Jialanzi? At this moment, Xiao Han was taking a stroll under the lazy afternoon sun, walking in the streets of an ordinary small town in the northern region. He had lived here for more than half a month and was already familiar with many of the shop owners in the streets. Xiao Han chatted and laughed with these acquaintances while reminiscing the little fun that the food at noon brought him. And Xiao Han's current appearance and temperament was that of a harmless scholar. Moreover, he was generous. Therefore, the natives in the small town were also happy to make friends with him. As he walked, Xiao Han's expression changed slightly. His spirit fluctuated a little. Brother Jialanzi, sect master, and a few senior brothers have also arrived in the northern region? Xiao Han touched his nose. Although they have weakened their soul aura a lot, I still discovered them immediately. It seems that Brother Jialanzi and sect master are also worried about me. Xiao Han, who was besieged on all sides, could not help but feel a surge of warmth in his heart. However, at this moment, boom, 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 Xiao Han sensed dense waves of immortal senses flying over from the west region and entering the north region. Nearly 100 immortal senses? Xiao Han frowned. Nearly 100 immortals have swarmed into the northern region. Wait. These immortal senses are not possessed by the immortals who first arrived in my realm. In other words, there are new immortals, nearly 100 in number, who have suddenly arrived in my realm. This caused the number of immortals in my realm to exceed 400. Soon after, Xiao Han realized that all 100 immortals had arrived at the area where Emperor Heaven was and were meeting up with him. This made Xiao Han immediately understand. It seems that Emperor Heaven has found reinforcements to deal with me. Moreover, this batch of reinforcements is coming to my realm for the first time. Did they come from another realm? Or did they directly descend from the immortal realm? Just as Xiao Han was muttering to himself, his spirit fluctuated violently. Xiao Han discovered that among the nearly 100 immortals who had arrived in this realm for the first time, there was an immortal sense that was as deep as the sea. It was like a black hole whirlpool that seemed to be able to devour space and light from all directions. Within this immortal sense, there was a dazzling golden light. There was a golden ball that floated and sank. The surface of this golden ball was engraved with complex and brilliant spirit runes. Moreover, it emitted a tremendous and earth-shattering pressure. It was as if this golden ball could shatter a realm and blow up a planet with just a slight movement. It's a solid-state spirit planet. Xiao Han was astonished. An immortal with an extremely powerful soul and mind power has appeared. His soul and mind power has also reached the solidified realm just like mine. In fact, although Brother Jialan, Emperor Heaven, and the other immortals are considered leaders among the younger generation of the immortal realm, their soul and mind power are only at the liquefied state and have yet to solidify. Therefore their soul and mind power are inferior to mine. But now, an immortal with solidified soul and mind power has descended. In terms of soul and mind power alone, this person is on par with me. He's an extremely powerful person. Chapter 603. Northern Region. On a large immortal cloud stood hundreds of immortals with majestic auras. Watermark advertisement test. Master Spectral was sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed. Just now, Master Spectral had already devoured the 2 soul frequency imprints of Xiao Han into his eyes. He was analyzing Xiao Han's soul frequency. He wanted to find the essence of Xiao Han's soul. As long as he grasped the essence of Xiao Han's soul, then Spectral Child believed that no matter how Xiao Han disguised himself, he would become his prisoner and be easily captured by him. Not long after, suddenly, Master Spectral opened his eyes. Boom! His eyes suddenly shone like stars and a mental storm suddenly erupted. Layers of ripples appeared in the space and the surrounding immortals all retreated. Even someone as strong as the Son of Heaven took half a step back. He blurted out, Master Spectral, your mental power is indeed able to seize the fortune of heaven and earth. It's extraordinary. Haha, that's enough. Master Spectral suddenly opened his mouth and burst out laughing. Master Spectral, how is it? Son of Heaven's eyes were burning as he approached Master Spectral. The rest of the immortals also couldn't help but move closer. I have extracted the essence of Xiao Han's soul. Master Spectral smiled confidently. Then a faint mental frequency imprint gushed out from his left eye. This is Xiao Han's original soul aura before he disguised himself. This is also his soul essence. In the next moment, this soul frequency imprint distorted a few times and turned into a round sphere. On the surface of this sphere there were some complicated engravings. The outside was filled with fog. Oh, this is the essence of Xiao Han's soul? Son of Heaven was slightly puzzled. Xiao Han is indeed powerful. A little mortal has actually cultivated to the realm of mental power solidification. This is almost impossible for a mortal to do. The muscles at the corner of Master Spectral's eyes twitched. His eyes twitched crazily a few times. It seems like Xiao Han has a great opportunity. There must be a great opportunity on him. Maybe there is some supreme mental power cultivation technique that fell into the mortal world and coincidentally fell into Xiao Han's hands. After I capture Xiao Han, I will interrogate him myself. Pausing for a moment, Master Spectral Spirit smiled complacently. Son of Heaven, pay attention. The essence of Xiao Han's soul is a sphere that is indestructible. This meant that he had already cultivated to the level of solidifying his mental power. There was a solidified mental power planet in his sea of consciousness. On this solid mental power planet, The mysterious patterns he drew were the essence of Xiao Han's soul. Son of Heaven, these mysterious patterns are exclusive to Xiao Han. Take a closer look and memorize them. Oh. The spirit runes on the surface of the sphere? Heaven Emperor used his immortal sense to scan it and memorize the complex runes and symbols. Afterwards, Child Spectral opened his right eye and another strand of soul fluctuation shot out. After being distorted, this strand of soul fluctuation became extremely complicated and strange. This was a triangle. On the surface of the triangle there were some spirit patterns. However, inside the triangle there was a spherical object. On the surface of the spherical object, there was a pattern that had the same frequency as the first soul fluctuation imprint. I understand now. Heaven Emperor said sternly. The second soul fluctuation imprint was born after Xiao Han's disguise. On the surface, it looks like a triangle and the pattern on the surface is completely different from the pattern on the surface of the spherical object. However, inside the triangle. I understand now. This is that Xiao Han's disguise. Indeed, Son of Heaven, your soul and mental power are weaker than Xiao Han. Therefore you can't see through his disguise. But now I have analyzed the essence of Xiao Han's soul. Now it's time to reel in the net. Master Spectral Spirit suddenly stood up with his hands behind his back. The wind blew and his sleeves fluttered. My celestial consciousness has already covered the entire northern region. Now I'm going to read the soul essence of all living beings in the northern region. The soul essence of Xiao Han. Son of Heaven, you have all memorized it. Now let's find Xiao Han. Okay. Heaven Emperor was excited. This time Xiao Han won't be able to escape. The hundreds of immortals nodded their heads. The next moment, swoosh, 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 swoosh. The entire northern region was filled with all kinds of spirit runes. These were the spirit runes of all living beings in the northern region. Everyone's mental secret pattern was unique, just like a fingerprint on the palm. With Master Spectral Spirit and Son of Heaven as the leader, the hundreds of immortals present released their immortal sense without restraint and directly swept through the spirit runes of all living beings in the northern region. In the private room of the hotel where Jialanzi, Wu Li and the others were. Not good. Brother Jialanzi, I have a feeling that someone is peeping on me. Even my soul is being seen through and all my secrets are exposed. This feeling is making my hair stand on end. Wu Li said nervously. It's not an illusion. Jialanzi said with certainty. It's Master Spectral Spirit who is using a special spirit technique to read the essence of our souls. He has already started to search for Brother Xiao. Jialanzi waved his hand and an immortal chi shield appeared, covering the entire private room and blocking Master Spectral Spirit's prying. With this, Wu Li, Xiao Mingqiu and the others finally recovered. I believe that Brother Xiao has also sensed it. I wonder how Brother Xiao will deal with it. Jialanzi stood up. Once Brother Xiao's whereabouts are exposed, Son of Heaven and Master Spectral Spirit will want to capture Brother Xiao. I have no choice but to take action. At this moment Xiao Han was also sitting in the back garden of the inn. Suddenly, the solid spirit power star in his sea of consciousness began to squirm. It was trembling and trembling. Moreover, the spirit patterns on the surface of the solid spirit power star suddenly became hot, as if they were being extracted and read by an inexplicable power. The essence of my soul has been seen through. Xiao Han was proficient in soul spirit power and naturally knew what was going on. Amazing, this move is really amazing. Xiao Han could not help but nod repeatedly. The essence of each person's soul is unique. Although I can distort soul fluctuations, I can't control them. Although I can distort the soul fluctuations, I can disguise a different soul aura, but the essence will not change. Right now, the essence of my soul seems to have been seen through. That's right. It must be the immortal that Son of Heaven invited who has reached the solidification stage. He used a special spirit technique. He is searching for me. Buzz, 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 on the surface of Xiao Han's solid spirit power star, those only belonged to him. The patterns that were like life imprints became hotter and hotter, trembling incessantly. Finally, in the depths of Xiao Han's soul, there was a feeling of being watched. A terrifying feeling as if he had been seen through. I've finally been discovered by them. They have seen through my disguise. Xiao Han was slightly stunned for a moment. Then, the corner of his mouth pulled up into a faint smile and quickly calmed down. On the contrary, Xiao Han's heart gave birth to a playful feeling. In the sky of the northern region, trillions of spirit patterns were rising into the air. Hundreds of immortals. Their immortal senses spread out like a tide and quickly read these patterns. Finally, found it? Master Spectre roared sternly. Then, his immortal senses. It directly lit up a spirit pattern that was rising from a certain area on the ground. Son of Heaven and the other immortals also focused their immortal senses over. Indeed. This pattern is exactly the same as the essence pattern of Xiaohan's soul. Found it? I really found it. Son of Heaven also let out a roar as if a heavy burden had been lifted from his shoulders. Master Spectre, it's all thanks to you this time. Ah. The strange spirit technique is really magical. It made Xiaohan unable to hide. Umph. On Master Spectre's face, an arrogant and conceited expression appeared. Brother Son of Heaven, I've said it before. Find Xiaohan within 2 hours. How about it? It's not even 2 hours yet. I've said it before. As long as I can see through the essence of a person's soul, no matter how he disguises himself, he can't escape my eyes. Then, capture him. Capture him directly. Son of Heaven's eyes once again released resentment and the joy of revenge. After capturing Xiaohan, although we can't kill him directly, we can torture him to our heart's content. Humiliation. This person must be beaten up and ravaged. Divine Sword Sun and Du Longzi have both fallen in his hands. Moreover, his attitude in front of me is extremely arrogant. I'm going to directly break all the bones in his body and shatter his meridians to cripple him first. Brother Son of Heaven. At this time, an immortal standing behind Son of Heaven came up and flattered. Brother Son of Heaven, that Xiaohan's mental strength is very strong. Why don't we capture him and shatter his mental strength first, turning him into an idiot? Anyway, as long as he doesn't die, the key to enter the second floor of Immortal Emperor Ju Dao's treasure will open the transportation passage as scheduled. Good. Son of Heaven smiled. That's not bad. Just as Son of Heaven, Master Spectre, and the others were about to lock onto Xiaohan's position and capture him. All of a sudden, the imprint of Xiaohan's soul essence pattern suddenly disappeared. From all directions, the soul essence patterns of other living beings squeezed over, causing the immortal senses of Son of Heaven and the other immortals to lock onto nothing. What's going on? How did it suddenly disappear without a trace? How is this possible? Master Spectre exclaimed in surprise. Xiaohan leisurely left the inn where he was staying. He strolled in the bustling city and walked out of the city. In his sea of consciousness, the burning sensation of the solid mental strength planet had already dissipated. At this time, Xiaohan had already changed his appearance. He had used the reincarnation technique and disguised himself again. With a shake of his body, he had turned into a middle-aged uncle. His temperament had also changed from that of a weak scholar to that of a street slang. If Xiaohan didn't evolve his left arm into the demon god's palm, if he didn't transform the thousands of demonic techniques into something magical, and if he only relied on distorting soul waves to disguise himself, he would have indeed been captured by Master Ghost and Emperor Firmament. However, when Xiaohan realized that the essence of his soul was locked onto, he immediately activated the reincarnation technique, to the extreme. This way the temperament of his soul changed once again. Although the essence of his soul didn't change, the reincarnation technique, that was cast with 40 demonic dragons' demonic strength was no longer something that Master Spectre could see through. Your mental strength is indeed powerful, but it's not as powerful as my reincarnation technique. Xiaohan looked at the distant sky where Master Spectral Spirit, Heaven Emperor, and the other immortals were. His lips curled into a mocking smile. Impossible. Why did it suddenly disappear? Finally, Master Spectre became flustered and exasperated. He continuously released his immortal senses to scan the area, but he couldn't find Xiaohan's soul essence pattern anymore. He didn't run away. Why did his soul essence pattern disappear? Why is this happening? Master Spectre roared continuously. His forehead and face were covered in sweat. At this moment, pooh! A mouthful of blood spurted out from Master Spectre's mouth. Just now, when he released his immortal senses without holding back in an attempt to find Xiaohan, he unknowingly overdrafted his mental strength, causing a sharp pain in his brain and causing him to spurt out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 604. At this moment, Master Spectre, who was originally very confident, suffered a setback. He had already found the essence of Xiaohan's soul and thought that he could capture it easily. However, an extremely strange thing happened. The essence of Xiaohan's soul suddenly disappeared and was annihilated. What's going on? It hit again? Master Spectre's face was slightly pale. He looked anxious and his facial features were distorted. Watermark advertisement test. One should know that Master Spectre was extremely confident. Especially after his mental strength solidified, his specialty in tracking and investigation was displayed to the fullest. Heavenly sight and earthly hearing, a strange mental technique. Even in the immortal world, as long as an immortal was targeted by Master Spectre, it was unlikely that they could escape his surveillance. Now that he had arrived in the mortal world, he had actually lost a mortal. This caused Master Spectre's pride to be mercilessly trampled. The hundreds of immortals behind him looked at Master Spectre anxiously, which made him even more annoyed and exasperated. His mental strength is only on par with mine. How could he disappear from my surveillance for no reason? There must be a problem somewhere. Xiaohan, do you think you can escape? Spectral Child took out a bottle of potion to recover his mental strength from his storage ring. He tilted his head back and drank it. His mental strength that he had inadvertently overdrawn was rapidly replenished. His pale face regained its rosy color, and he regained the confidence to rule over the world. Brother Spectre, since Xiaohan is still in the northern region and hasn't escaped, why don't you rest for a while and continue searching? Master Firmament said. Catching a turtle in a jar. The spatial barrier of the northern region has been sealed by our immortal senses. No one can effectively teleport. It's impossible for Xiaohan to escape in a short period of time. It's fine. Master Spectre waved his hand. Just now I was probably careless. Master Firmament, I will search for the essence of Xiaohan's soul again. Wait for the good news. Master Firmament paused for a moment and then nodded. Forget it, Master Spectre. You can continue. Boom. Suddenly, inside Master Spectre's sea of consciousness, a layer of mental halo shot out. It was pure and brilliant. It had a great intent realm that could shine through the ages. Master Firmament and the other immortals. After seeing this spiritual halo, they couldn't help but gasp in admiration. They all believed that under this all-encompassing spiritual halo, no one would be able to hide. They would definitely be exposed down to the tiniest detail. With the support of his powerful mental energy, Ghost Child's eyes shone brightly. All of them shot out bright beams of light that shone down, lighting up almost the entire north region. There were so many of them. Tens of trillions of soul essence patterns rose up and were recognized by Child Ghost. Let's search together. Emperor Heaven ordered the immortals under his command. Yes. The immortals released their immortal senses again. Every living being, be it an immortal or a mortal, had a different soul essence pattern imprint. Now, it was a bit troublesome for the immortals to find the one that belonged to Xiaohan among the trillions of soul essences. Before long, some immortals with weaker psychic power felt their heads swell and their eyes blur. Looking at the dense array of soul essence patterns, their vision blurred. They hurriedly retracted their immortal senses and closed their eyes to rest, recovering their energy. Master Spectre's mental energy had reached the solidified stage and was extremely powerful. At this moment, his eyes narrowed and he carefully searched. However, his expression became more and more stiff. How is this possible? It's like a stone sinking into the ocean. Xiaohan, what kind of trick are you playing? It's impossible for it to disappear just like that. Even if he died, the soul essence wouldn't disappear immediately. Could it be that he has a magic treasure that can completely hide the soul essence? That's impossible. Even in the immortal world, magic treasures that can completely hide the soul essence are extremely precious. Ordinary immortals and even immortal emperors wouldn't be able to have such a magic treasure. Xiaohan is just a mortal, it's even more impossible for him to have one. Time passed bit by bit. 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. Master Yuling had declared that he would find Xiaohan within 2 hours. But now, several hours had already passed, yet he had yet to find anything. It was truly a great mockery. In the private room of the restaurant where Jia Lanzi and Wu Li were. At this moment, Wu Li, Xiao Mingchu, Dongfang Qin, and Fang Ling were all sitting on pins and needles. One by one they stood up and kept pacing in the private room. Even Jia Lanzi was leaning against the window looking out. Brother Jialan, the situation that Xiaohan is in now is extremely bad. The immortal who came to our plane for the first time has a mental energy soul power that is not inferior to Xiaohan. I'm afraid he can really find Xiaohan's whereabouts. Brother Jialan, please help Xiaohan. You must not let Xiaohan fall into their hands. It was Heaven's Son who violated the rules first and broke the bet. Then Brother Jialan, you can also help. Why do you still care about morality and honor when facing this group of despicable and shameless fellows? Wu Li said anxiously. Suddenly Jialanzi's tense and stiff face gradually relaxed. Moreover, there was a trace of a strange feeling. Jialanzi slowly turned around and said with bright eyes, Brother Xiao is really a god. Why does Brother Jialan say that? Ah. Jialanzi suddenly laughed. Ghost Child, Heaven's Son, and the others are still helpless and can't find Brother Xiao. Ghost Child is known as the #1 in mental energy among the younger generation in the immortal world, but he also suffered in the hands of Brother Xiao. Ah. Another city in the northern region. In the hall of the restaurant. At this moment, Tao Tai Black and White, Su Huizi and the other immortals had already contacted dozens of immortals. These immortals were extremely disdainful of Heaven's Son's behavior and were willing to be on good terms with Xiao Han. Moreover, these immortals at this moment seemed to be extremely excited. Heaven's Son is too much. He actually told the space coordinates of this plane to Ghost Child and the others. Ghost Child, I remember very clearly that when the distribution was first made, he should have descended to another plane and not this plane. Other than Ghost Child, there are many immortals from other planes. Could it be that they all want to snatch the quota from Xiao Han? How dare you? Heaven's Son is too arrogant. He even wants to dominate the second floor of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure? This time, we are even more determined to stand on the side of Xiao Han and Brother Jialan. Heaven's Son is too much. Xiao Han had already walked out of a city leisurely. With a little trick, he hid from the soldiers guarding the city and arrived at the suburbs. Then he sneaked into another city. During this period of time, whenever Xiao Han felt a burning sensation on the surface of the solid psychic power planet in his sea of consciousness, he would immediately activate the reincarnation incantation to change his soul aura. Therefore, no matter how hard Master Spectral Spirit tried, he couldn't find Xiao Han. To Ghost Child, Xiao Han was like a clay ox entering the sea. There was no news of him and he was completely annihilated among the masses. Heaven's Son, no matter how many tricks you have up your sleeves or how many reinforcements you have invited, don't even think of finding me. Xiao Han looked at the horizon and laughed disdainfully. This time I will definitely win the bet with the immortals. In the sky. 6 hours had already passed. The sky was already turning dark. Ghost Child drank 4 bottles of mental energy replenishing medicine in a row, but it was still of no use. He couldn't find Xiao Han. Not even the slightest trace. He didn't even discover it. Ghost Child's face was getting uglier and uglier. His facial features were almost distorted. Moreover, Ghost Child had been consuming his mental energy for a long time. At this moment, he saw the densely packed soul wave imprints that covered the sky. He was already feeling dizzy and his vision was blurred. At a glance, the entire north region was filled with soul essence imprints patterns. Ghost Child's vision was blurry and his head was about to explode. As for Heaven's Son and the other immortals, they stood behind Ghost Child in a daze. Their hearts sank to the bottom. Still can't find Xiao Han? I have already invited the friend who is most likely to find Xiao Han, but Heaven's Son's face was filled with bitterness. Finally, enough. I don't want to play anymore. Ghost Child flew into a rage and stood up abruptly. His eyes were filled with resentment and anger. Enough. I am a genius of the immortal world. I don't want to waste any more time with an insignificant mortal here. This is a boring game. Utterly boring. Finally, at this moment, Ghost Child lost the demeanor of an immortal. He was thoroughly enraged out of humiliation, flustered and exasperated. Heaven's Son. End this ridiculous and childish bet between you and Xiao Han. Ghost Child stared at Heaven's Son. Brother Ghost Child, what do you mean? Heaven's Son's eyes began to flicker with murderous intent. He seemed to be unable to restrain himself. Heaven's Son. You and I are both immortals. In the immortal world, we also enjoy the reputation of being geniuses. This time, the exploration of the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure should be done by us immortals. Those mortals who have the quota to enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure are just foils. It's a clown. An incomparably ridiculous nobody. He's worse than ants, pigs and dogs. Ghost Child almost roared. Heaven's Son, when I arrived at the mortal plane, those mortals who had the quota all knelt down and worshipped me. When I asked them to go east, they definitely wouldn't dare to go west. But when you descended, you were troubled by a mortal. And you even made such a childish bet with him. Kill? Ghost Child screamed. Isn't this Xiao Han in the North region? Isn't he hiding very well? Good. Kill all the mortals in the North region. I don't believe that Xiao Han won't come out. If he doesn't come out, we will kill him. Kill until the North region is filled with corpses. If he still doesn't come out after killing everyone in the North region, we will kill all the mortals in the East region, West region, South region, and Great Wilderness. Oh. Heaven's Son smiled coldly. Ghost Child, you and I are indeed good friends of many years. What you said is exactly what I want. Then that laughable bet would be nullified. Kill. Kill until Xiao Han comes out. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.